Welcome to All Gen Gamers, a podcast for people in video games of all generations. Starring Pete Dorr, Happy Console Gamer, Gamester81, and Jason Heine.
Alright guys, and welcome back to another episode of All Gen Gamers. This is episode 48, and tonight I am joined by my usual co-host, Jason Heine, the EMU Review. What's going on, Jason?
What's up, guys?
As well as John, Gamester81. What's going on, John?
I'm really happy to be here.
And of course, we've got the gambling, always happy console gamer. Johnny, what's up?
Satin. Hey, guys.
The Sega Saturn.
Sega Satin. No, Johnny's not here with this episode, actually. Aw. He's in Vegas partying it up right now. He's got better things to do.
Yes, so Johnny can't join us tonight, so he will most likely be returning next week. But we do have someone else that is joining us tonight, special returning guest. The fans cheered for him to come back. They emailed us every day to have back Mr. Browland Ben. What's going on?
Hey, what is up, guys? Thank you so much for having me back. And I'm no substitute for the Happy Console Gamer, but I will do my best.
Ben, what episode were you on before? What number was it?
I believe it was 24.
Okay.
Wow. Dude, almost completely double.
It is exactly double.
Yeah, almost.
It was January, yeah.
Every 24th episode, we should have you on.
Hey, I'm totally game for that.
Welcome to the show, man. It's good to have you back. That was a fun discussion last time. So
tonight we don't really have a set topic because I don't know, we've been having trouble planning out this week's episode, I guess. But what we're going to do is we're going to dive into a lot of questions. We got a quick draw. We're going to take an audio question or two, possibly go into some form questions if we have some time. But first of all, I guess, should I catch up on what...
you weren't here last episode, and, we talked about Duke Nukem. We talked about Zelda for the 3DS. Just, like to know your opinions. Did you pick up Zelda?
I did, yeah. I got it day one. And I listened to last week's episode, and in a way, I kind of agreed. I forget who it was. It was Johnny who was saying, well, I shouldn't say I disagree, but the topic came up, is Zelda 3DS worth buying a 3DS for? And I'm kind of yes and no on this topic. I picked it up. I love the game. It's been a really, really long time since I've actually played Ocarina of Time. I did not play it on the GameCube, so the last time I did play it was back on the N64, probably a good, 10 years ago almost. And I have to say, the first thing that really hit me that's awesome about this game, the graphics look amazing, totally redone. At first I thought I was going to miss the pre-rendered backgrounds because I'm a big fan of pre-rendered graphics. But I have to say I'm a big fan of the totally redone graphical engine. The 3D looks amazing. It doesn't really... It adds to the game in the sense of, it helps you judge distance, but it's not like crucial to playing the game. So you can turn it off and play it with it, play it just fine. But some of the elements that they added in that they were talking about last episode were how you can move your 3DS around to use the gyroscope to sort of use it as a first-person camera, which I thought was just amazing. Unfortunately, you do have to turn down the 3D in order to use that correctly. But is it worth buying a 3DS for? Before the game came out, I would probably say yes, because, the hype was so built up around this game. But after playing it, it is the same old Ocarina of Time. It's really, I would say it depends how long it's been since you've played the game. If you've played through Ocarina of Time so many times that just like the back of your hand, I would probably say pass on it for now. Wait until some more 3DS games come out. But if you're like me and you haven't played this game in 10 years and it's almost like revisiting the game for the first time and kind of, you're not too familiar with, the dungeons and everything, you kind of got to relearn it the whole way through, I would probably say it might be worth picking up a 3DS for, paired with a couple of pretty little hidden gems that are out there for the system right now, such as Ghost Recon and Ridge Racer is pretty good. And of course, Blaze Blue and Dead or Alive and Street Fighter if you're a fan of fighting games. But that would just be my take on, is it worth buying a 3DS for this game? I don't know, Ben, have you gotten around to picking up a 3DS at all yet?
No, and it's actually funny because Ocarina of Time was one of the games that I benchmarked as, the make it or break it if I'm going to get the system or not. To be honest with you, and this is maybe kind of a gamer shame kind of thing, but I've never actually beaten Ocarina of Time. In fact, I never even got far into it back when I had an N64. So I'm looking at this as an opportunity to play the game with fresh eyes. I've never played through it extensively. I know very little about the game outside of the fanfare and the acclaim that it's garnered over the years. So I haven't gotten a 3DS yet. I resisted the temptation, even though hearing all you guys talking about it on the podcast really almost pushed me to getting it. I wouldn't get it just for this, though. I'm waiting for the other titles to come out, such as what we saw at E3, like Kid Icarus, Mario Kart, Star Fox. That's the kind of Nintendo that I was hoping for. So Ocarina of Time has pushed me to want to get a 3DS, and the other games that I know are coming out are going to push me even further. So I'm definitely going to get one. Sadly, I've not gotten one yet, but it's definitely on my radar.
Yeah, I mean, games are starting to slowly trickle out. Like this Tuesday, Resident Evil Mercenaries is coming out in the United States. It's been out in Europe and Japan. Supposedly the game is like $6 in Japan. So there's something wrong. I guess there's something about the game that just didn't hit it over there.
$6?
Yeah, 600 yen, apparently.
Holy shit.
New? But what I found out, used, I believe. But what I found out is that the game apparently has online 2-player co-op, which I was not aware of. According to the box, it says online 2-player co-op, so that's definitely a pretty cool aspect to the game. And for those that aren't familiar or are confused, there is a Revelations Resident Evil game coming out, and the Mercenaries one is more like an arcade shooter. When I played it at PAX, it was like constant waves of zombies. So it's not like the past Resident Evils where it's sort of like, a burst of zombies and then it kind of slows down and you get some puzzle solving to do. Like it is straight up fast paced arcade shooting zombie action. So it's a bit different from your typical Resident Evil game.
Yeah, I've seen commercials for it and I'm kind of excited for it.
I'll be picking it up because I need more reasons to get back into my 3DS. I mean, I have neglected my 3DS quite a bit. And a game that I forgot to mention the last time I was on was I did pick up Blaze Blue on the 3DS, and I did play that. And I think I forgot to mention this, but I have to say, super disappointed. For those that aren't familiar with Blaze Blue, it is a 2D fighting game series that originated on the 360 and PS3. It's by the developers of Guilty Gear, and I was a huge fan of the 360 version. They've released multiple versions, such as Continuum Shift on the 360 PS3. It's sort of like an updated version. It also, recently the newest version came out on the PSP. I bought the 3DS version, and here's the bad point about it. First of all, I was okay with the fact that there's no online play. I can deal with that, but they don't let you use the circle pad. You have to use the D-pad, and it's terrible. Most people are probably saying to themselves, "Oh, a fighting game, well, use the D-pad anyway. Why would you use the circle pad?" The D-pad for this game, it's so hard to pull off moves. My thumb cramps up, and just after a while, it just becomes almost painful to play the game. I hate the placement of the D-pad on the 3DS. It's way too far in the bottom left of the system, and just playing it with the D-pad it's not the most ideal thing for me. And I'll admit, I'm the type of person where I play a lot of fighters with the joystick. I just find it a lot easier to pull off moves and such. I'm not an arcade stick kind of person. I tend to like my joysticks in fighting games because I'm not hardcore in the fighting games, but I found that to be a big disappointment with Blaze Blue and the 3DS. So my recommendation for fans of the series, avoid the one on 3DS. The 3D itself, it's kind of lacking. It's kind of disappointing as well. It kind of just, all it does is just make it look like the characters are a flat image that are sort of, the backgrounds just recede into the back. Mm-hmm. It's not as effective and visually stunning as a Street Fighter or Dead or Alive. So that's just a little 3DS update with myself because I haven't been playing the 3DS, prior to buying Zelda, which I am about 5 hours into. I just finished up the fight with Dodongo, the fight at I guess you can say the fire dungeon after the Gorons early on in the game. But yeah, I haven't really been playing my 3DS. I kind of got burnt out on it. I guess it was 3DS overload because I picked up so many games and I was trying to play through so many different games at once that I kind of just, I don't know, I burnt out for a while.
You bought like pretty much every launch title though for it.
I pretty much bought every launch title except for the sports games and that dinosaur crap game. Yeah, I bought everything. And I'll have to admit, only a couple were kind of worth it. I paid my I paid my own money for these games, so I can rightfully judge them. And I can tell you guys that there were very few launch games that were worth picking up. Like just looking at them now, Ridge Racer, Rayman, Pilot Wings,
Street Fighter 4.
Street Fighter 4, yeah, that was definitely a nice surprise. I didn't expect to like that as much as I did. Probably the best game, though, Ghost Recon. One of the best games, without a doubt. If you like strategy games, Ghost Recon Shadow Wars, I want to push that game because I know a lot of people didn't pick it up because they think, oh, Ghost Recon, I don't like Ghost Recon. If you like strategy games, especially if you like Advance Wars, pick that game up, without a doubt.
I've heard really good things about it. But a question actually I have for you, Pete, and you, Gamester, and you, Jason. Would you say that, obviously, would you say that you were disappointed with the 3DS? Did it not live up to your expectations, or are you patient and willing to give it the time? Because I know a lot of people who are just slamming the 3DS.
Mm-hmm.
I guess John, go first.
Yeah, I would say I'm not so much disappointed in the system itself. I was disappointed in the launch titles and the games that are available for it. Mm-hmm. I think it's got a really good potential as a system. 3D is huge right now. The craze, I think Nintendo is trying to go above and beyond and do that, but the games are just really disappointing. The launch style games are just disappointing. Like Pete said, there's only a few that are available that were worth picking up, and now they're starting to come in. Zelda Ocarina of Time came out. They're coming out with Resident Evil's coming out, so they're starting to come out with some good games. But Nintendo really pushed Kid Icarus, and they pushed all these awesome games. They showed gameplay when the 3DS was first announced. And we've come to find out those games aren't going to be available for months until after the system's available. So I think that was a bad PR move by Nintendo on their end. But to answer your question, I think when you look back on it, I think the 3DS obviously sold over 1 million systems. I think it's gonna be a really great system. You look at the lineup for the DS. Look how many great games are for that. Mm-hmm. So I think it's. How about you, Jason?
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly how I think too. I mean, I wasn't disappointed with the console itself at all. I really liked the console, but the launch titles was just ridiculous. I can't believe how weak it was.
Yeah.
They had some diversity with, different genres of games in there, but I just thought it was really weak. And I feel like we're kind of waiting for these games to come out. I mean, think of what it's going to be like in a year or 2 years.
Yeah.
Think of how many great games are going to be out then. It just sucks that we have to wait so long to get any of these titles, and they're gonna shovel our Nintendo 64 titles. They're gonna do this for quite a bit longer here, and then once that's done,
bring it on.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm excited about that too. But once that's burned out, then we're gonna get the games later on that are really gonna take advantage of the 3D, really take advantage of the hardware, and that's what I'm looking forward to. That's what
look at the original DS. Look at the launch titles for that. You had Mario 64, but that was a port. But look how long it took. It took quite a bit before developers started bringing out games that really took advantage of the touchscreen on the DS, and then it really took off. Same thing's going to happen with the 3DS. Yes, the 3D. That's sort of like, for the most part, I'd probably argue that it might even be at its peak right now. You look at Zelda, and really, how much better can the 3D get? I think they can't really push it too much further. It's going to come from the software titles. So once they start rolling out games like Mario Kart and Star Fox and Kid Icarus, games like that are really going to get people to get excited and buy the systems. Because guess what? Those games are not coming out on the DS, so they got to upgrade. And hey, I'm notorious. I'm sure a lot of people are for buying every single freaking version of a DS that comes out. And, I've bought every single one. I'm guilty of it. And, they can bring out 5 different versions of the 3DS and I'll buy them. And I'll have to say, Ben, to answer your question, I was actually kind of, minor gripes, but I was kind of disappointed in the overall design of the 3DS in terms of, first minor gripe would be the stylus placement. It's just something as small as that. That thing is a pain in the ass to get out when you're playing games, especially, if you're playing a game that doesn't require the stylus constantly, holding on to it while you're playing in your hand, that can kind of be a pain. All the way down, here's my biggest gripe with the system, though. The battery life sucks, okay? I take this thing with me on a trip, and that thing is dying in 3 or 4 hours. I'm the type of person, I'm playing this thing, max brightness, max 3D. I'm pushing that thing to the limits because, hey, I bought this thing for the 3D, not to play games that look like, a PSP. So the battery it's pretty terrible. And let's face it, the screen size, it's not optimal. It's sort of, I'm the type of person where, I love my XL, my DS XL, and going from playing games on the XL to the 3DS, if I'm playing a DS game, I'm going to want to play it on my XL. The backwards compatibility on a 3DS to me is just, it's kind of gimped because the screen it's very small. And I don't like letterboxing it and all that stuff. I think it just looks
Do you think Nintendo intentionally, do you think they intentionally did that?
Oh,
absolutely.
of course.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Who wants to put money down that the next release of the 3DS, look, it's going to have different features, right? You know, they're going to say, oh, it has this, but who wants to put money on it that it will include a bigger screen?
Oh, yeah. 3DS
I guarantee
XL.
it, that's coming up.
Yeah, 3DS
Totally. And this is exactly why I kind of held off, because I was kind of faced at a crossroads when it came to system launch. I was so hyped to get it because everyone else I knew, including you guys, were all over it. And I had to hold myself back and say the launch titles are not really appealing to me. I know a lot of people like Street Fighter. I'm not a big Street Fighter fan, so there was no reason for me to go out and get it day one. But what I've known about game systems over the past few years is that they do get progressively better, especially when the second generation, third generation comes out, and when there's a better library of games out. And plus, the price is going to be lower, and it's going to have better battery life, better features. So I think I made the right choice staying on the sidelines, but I do feel partly left out because everyone is enjoying their 3DS to some extent, and I'm still there with my DS, which is definitely not a bad thing, mind you.
Here's something that's kind of interesting. I'm just thinking about most like second generation, like you're saying, Ben, like they come out with a system and then the second model is always better. Mm-hmm. But in most cases, I think the DS might be the only exception, is that they're smaller. You have the PS3 Slim, you have the 360 Slim, PS2 Slim, etc. But with the DS, you get the XL. Although they did have a Lite, which is smaller. But no, like with the XL, that's kind of an exception to the rule. It'd be kind of funny for Microsoft, for example, to come out with a 360 that's like twice the size.
The 360 large.
Yeah.
The 360 fatty.
Well, the DSi XL really did suit a need for people who want a bigger screen. I mean,
Sure.
Pete, you mentioned you love that DSi XL. I mean, one thing I saw at E3 that had me drooling, and I'm not ready to evangelize it as the best thing ever, but the the Vita from Sony, because that thing has an amazing looking screen on it, and if they have the right launch titles, especially at the price point, that's going to be a really good contender for, at least for me, a first day purchase. The 3DS didn't have that kind of glitter for me, so I don't know. Like, I'm eventually going to get it. That's not a question. I bought every Nintendo console dating back to the NES back in the 80s, so it's a given that I'm going to get it. But I think just when I look at the launch of the 3DS, it felt lukewarm to me, and that's why, I don't know, the reason why I asked was like, would you say it's worth jumping on now or worth waiting? I think I'm more on the side of waiting until the more A-list titles come out.
No, I would say totally wait, especially if you're not into fighting games, which, some of the best games. I haven't played Dead or Alive yet. I've seen it being played, and according to what people are saying, it's one of the better games. But if you're not in the fighting games, that rules out Street Fighter, Dead or Alive. And if you're not, totally craving to play Zelda right now, there's really not a really truly good reason to pick up a 3DS right now. I mean, I'm totally still satisfied with mine because I always love, the next evolution in systems, and I always got to have that latest hardware. But I'd probably safely say you can wait, and you're not missing out on much.
Do you think they're going to come out with Majora's Mask on 3DS eventually?
I would say so. Yeah, if they're bringing out Star Fox, and if they're going back and revisiting N64 games, I don't see why not. It would only make sense, for them to bring out Majora's Mask as well, because the game's already done for them. They just got to redo the graphics. It's
interesting that Nintendo, like with the Game Boy Advance, they brought back Super Nintendo games. And they ported those, and then they got the DS. Those are like N64 games. It makes you wonder if like their next handheld is going to be like Wii games.
Oh, Jesus!
It's going there. Yeah, it's going there.
Yeah,
I'm all for it though.
I like the shop, the online shop. Though I mean, it's very limited now. It's that was delayed too. That was another thing that Nintendo promised, was that was going to be launched earlier than it did, right? So, but I do like I've downloaded Excitebike. I think Pete, you got it too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. What are your thoughts about it?
I'm not a huge Excitebike fan, but here's the thing. I love the 3D in that game. I think it works extremely well, much better than I thought. Like the 3D in that game, actually, I think it makes it a new and unique experience. If you turn the slider down and put it in the original 2D mode and you slide it up to 3D, you're like, wow, that's kind of worth it to play in 3D. But then, there's one side of me with the Game Boy games that you can download, the Game Boy Color and the regular Game Boy games that are on the Virtual Console. It's, I don't know, like, there's just something about the 3D in them is useless. First of all, don't buy these games for the 3D. It's buying them for the factor of you just feel like playing them again. So The games, granted, that they put on there so far, they're kind of hit or miss. They just added on Donkey Kong for the original Game Boy, which was a pretty good game. I haven't played that game in God knows how long. But I think the price is right. I think they're pricing the game at like $3.99, which I think is just the right amount. It's not too expensive. It's not too cheap. So it's perfect for those people out there that maybe never had a Game Boy or don't have the original carts. But I don't know. I thought that a lot of the original Game Boy, I was under the impression that the sprites in these games were going to be 3D, but it's just giving the illusion that you're playing it on a Game Boy screen that slightly recedes into the background. It's hard to describe unless you've seen it.
So is it small, or is it like, it seems like that would be kind of smaller if they would do that. Kind of like a Super Game Boy.
Yes, if you want to play it in 3D, you have to put it into its original aspect ratio, which basically turns the screen of these games so small that you can barely see, scores on the screen and such, because it doesn't put 3D in the stretched out mode that they're in. If you keep it on regular aspect, you have to sort of press like L and R and start or something like that when you boot up the game, and it puts it into sort of Super Game Boy mode with a border of a Game Boy around the game screen. And then the 3D just consists of the gameplay portion of the screen receding slightly into the background of the border. If you can kind of imagine playing an original Game Boy game, you know how the plastic of the screen sort of creates a small shadow around the edges.
It's like overlap just a little bit.
Yeah, an overlap. Yeah. That's the 3D of these games.
Yep.
So in that aspect, it's kind of disappointing. I thought that they were all going to have the effect that Excitebike had, sort of like a sort of gimmicky, the scores and the character sprites are sort of closer towards you in the background of sprites recede, but no, it doesn't even have that. But, I am really excited for more 3D, built from the ground up 3D games like Excitebike. I think that's very promising. And hell, I'll be buying, when they start bringing out Game Gear games and such. It's very convenient. I don't go crazy like some people do and buy tons of virtual console games. I just like the convenience of popping open my 3DS without using emulators and R4s and all that crap that I don't get involved with, and just having the convenience of having all those games right there on the system.
I think you should make a push for Virtual Boy games on the 3DS.
But here's the thing. It would give people the wrong impression of the Virtual Boy. The Virtual Boy, to get the true experience, as cool as it would be, and I'd buy them on the 3DS, as cool as that would be, you have to play a Virtual Boy. It's like the Vectrex. You have to play the Virtual Boy in real life to truly get the true feeling of it. Sure. To me, playing the Virtual Boy is all about seeing nothing but black and then the gameplay. Like that, I can't get over it. Like, I just love the Virtual Boy. Just the feeling of seeing nothing but the game screen. No other game system can really do that for you.
Yeah. Pete, have you ever played a Vectrex emulator on computer?
No, I'd never torture myself like
terrible.
that. No.
It's terrible.
I didn't even know they had them.
Oh yeah, because they have the overlays and stuff too. I mean, it's cool.
I've seen that. Yeah,
it's just not even. It doesn't even do it justice because the brightness and the sharpness and
even recording a Vectrex. Yeah. I've said it every time because I've streamed the Vectrex 2 times. I've done a live stream of it. Even on my video I did of it, it doesn't do it justice. Like there's just some different effect when you see this thing on the Vector screen. It really is. It's super impressive. The lines are crisp and it's different.
For those listeners who are listening and they may not know what a Vectrex is, just a real quick recap. It's a system that came out in 82. It's vector graphics, which is a lot of the old classic Atari arcade games like Star Wars Arcade, Asteroids, Battlezone. They all had like those linear graphics. No color really. That's why they had overlays. But it was like it's unique in the sense that it had its own screen.
Mm-hmm. And the system does not hook up to a TV. Yeah. The system is its own screen.
It's about like 10 pounds, or how heavy do you think it is?
The damn thing is pretty heavy. I'd say 10 pounds seems about right.
Yeah, so it's really cool. And there's one controller at the very bottom that snaps in, but there is a port for a second controller. It has a built-in game, kind of like Asteroids. It's cool. It's a really cool
Mindstorm. Yeah, it's definitely... I guess you can say it's not the easiest system to get a hold of for a decent price on eBay. You're looking probably about $100. $100 loose, I'd say 80 to 100 loose. Yeah. The game's what's going to give you a problem, because if you want them complete with the overlays and everything, some games you can get for $20, but a lot of them are going to be like $40 and up.
Shipping is always a bitch on it because
God, yeah, I'm sure of it. Yeah. Jason likes the racers.
Yeah, pole position for it.
I know, and Pete's played. He played pole position. I was in
goddamn
his
pole
live
position
stream.
was kicking my ass. It was funny because I think I've mentioned this on the podcast before. I was trying to play pole position on my live stream for the first time. I picked it up. I hadn't played it yet, and I popped it in, and I couldn't qualify. I kept on failing for qualifying for moving up to the next race, and then Jason joins the stream, and then I qualify. So Jason was my good luck charm for that.
I'm in the house trying to help you out. But I'm telling you, man, when your freaking car, like a rock hit it, you were done. That thing blows up when you barely touch anything.
A fly hits a window.
Done. It was done. Still a cool game, though. I liked watching it.
Dude, I would love a pole position arcade.
Yeah, you can get a little like upright one, just to
even
tuck in a corner.
The sit-down cockpit one.
Those are so hard to find. There was one in my arcade as a kid.
Sexy.
I would always just sit in it, just like, wow, this is so cool.
Sexy.
Mm.
Okay,
awesome.
do you realize you guys just in the same sentence said pole, cock, and sexy? My friend Vito is going to be taking notes for another orgy. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, for the listeners that don't remember, if you missed the episode where we played you the All Gen Gamers orgy sound clips that were pieced together by Mr. Vito, he's a real life friend of yours, right, Ben?
He is, whether he likes it or not, and it took him several hours to clip them together. My only fear now is that I'm going to be in the next one, so I got to watch what I say here.
No, but we really loved it. Some people, it was funny. We posted it on our channels, and people were thinking that it was real. Like, you did such a good job on it. They're like, "Why are you guys talking like that?" Like, they didn't realize that it was pieced togetger for the fun of it. And
I like Pete's
even though it's blatantly making fun of us and making a lot of sexual innuendos, we really did enjoy it, and especially the fact that he spent hours piecing that together.
He totally
without even the intention of letting us hear it, right? He just let you hear it for the fun of it, right?
We wanted to find a way to kind of bring it to you guys because, it's like any kind of fan-made video or sound clip or something. It's all done with the best intentions. And, you have to have a sense of humor about yourself, especially you, Pete, because you got the brunt of it in those orgy clips. So, it was just a lot of fun. And, again, no ill intention by it. But, it was great fun. The first time I heard it, I was crying. I lost it.
It's sort of like when people do a parody of me. I get a lot of parody videos of people doing videos of impersonations of me. Mm-hmm. And, you got to take it very lighthearted. And I usually favorite them and leave a comment and such. And you can't look at it the wrong way. It's
flattering. It's almost like a comedy roast in a way. It's considered like an honor that people are as engaged in your channels that they'll make parodies of you. They'll kind of rib you a little bit, but it's all done. I mean, if it's trolling, it's obvious. In this case, they put the effort into it. Trolls are generally not smart enough to put that effort into it. Yeah. So it's all done in good fun.
I cracked up because when Jason initially played it on the podcast, I wasn't sure. Like, I thought like Johnny was talking, like, for real. And I wasn't sure when it was over. I'm like, what's going on? Because like he just started playing. Remember that? Oh yeah, Jason. Yeah.
I'm like, I'll tell you when it's done.
He's like, I'll tell you when it's done. But dude, it's like it sounds just like him. Like, what is going on?
The very part where I could tell Johnny got it is when Pete was like, "I'm gonna come so fast," and you hear Johnny just go, "Ha ha ha!"
Yeah, I'm gonna come so fast. So fast.
Oh, God, it's hilarious.
And for listeners that haven't heard those before, just head on over to our channel on YouTube, All Gen Gamers, and just look for the 2 AGG orgy clips. You'll see them.
We posted, Jason and I just posted a video yesterday as of recording this video over Dynamite Ducks.
Dynamite sucks.
Dynamite sucks. So we always bring up Dynamite Ducks. I forget what episode it was. Johnny was mentioning that he got it for Christmas or some shit. Or got it for as a gift, and he was pissed because he opened it up so excited. It was a piece of shit game. So we just sit there and we call it couch confessionals, or just kind of looking at the game and playing it, and it was really funny.
It was cool because none of us had played it.
No, I got it in a lot. I owned a game, but when I got the Sega Master System, it came with like 20 games, and it was one of those games that was included. I just never really picked it up, and I was going like organizing my room. I'm like, shit, Dynamite Ducks. So I called Jason over, and he came over. We played it, and Jason, what were your impressions about Dynamite Ducks?
I don't know. The game sucks.
Yeah.
You know what? What's crazy about the game is that I think... Now, Pete, did you watch the video?
All the way through.
Okay. I'm going to say only one positive thing about the game. I think he looks a little like Sonic.
Well, here's the thing. It's
From the back.
From the back, it's
which
Sonic.
Sonic would love it if he looked like Sonic
Yeah.
from the backside.
Well,
Yeah.
don't forget, that character is within the Sonic universe. He's actually in Sonic the Fighters. He's
he?
Bean the Dynamite. Yep.
See, so what the fuck? I know what I'm talking about then. That's what you're telling me.
Yep.
That's beautiful.
He's within the Sonic universe. He actually makes a very, very brief cameo in the upcoming. Now, fans don't know exactly how far this is going to go, but in the upcoming Sonic Generations game, there's a gameplay clip online of Escape from the City or whatever it is, the modern level for that. There's a poster that's seen. If you stop the gameplay and look at a still of it, there's a wanted poster for Bean the Dynamite from Dynamite.
I don't know who the hell would want him.
So
but,
it's a fighter. It's just like a side-scrolling fighter like Final Fight,
yeah.
but it's not 2-player.
No, it's not. It's not. It's
Who the heck? Oh, yeah, because I remember you guys sitting down, you're like, oh, let's play this 2-player.
Yeah, it's just a very
nothing.
colorful, screwed up game. I mean, I guess ultimately it's not the worst game. I mean, I know the worst games out there. We should do a couch confessional on that one, dude.
What's that?
You know what I'm talking about. Freaking Mag Max.
Oh, Mad Max now, dude. I'm down to do. Let's do
Let's
confessional
do
for
it.
that. Mad
Let's
Max?
do it, yeah.
Hell yeah.
Because I hate that game.
No. I think Friday the 13th is the most worst Nintendo game ever. NES game.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Pretty bad.
Yeah, I'll have to agree there for sure.
That's pretty bad.
Anyway, what did you think of it?
Oh, of Dynamite Ducks?
Yeah.
The graphics are okay, like you said, kind of like Sonic from the backside, which I'm sure Pete would love. The backside there of Sonic.
Of course.
But no, I think the gameplay is broken. The controls, I mean, you got this kick, and supposedly there's like a super punch if you hold down the button. God, we didn't even know
had
that.
no idea.
We had people leave comments, oh, you should love the super punch. I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know. But you get these like enemies who have these rocks, and this you get these weird animals and
Dog
stuff.
heads
Oh, how
and
about,
shit.
how about
Dog
the
heads?
fucking weapons?
Oh yeah, you got like
Dude, the Rock was the best weapon. The Rock.
You get bazookas and all the
Yeah.
rockets,
Dude,
and the rock is the best
The
fucking
rocket, it was like a ball, and it would shoot, and then it would go around the enemy.
Yeah.
You guys watch that? It went around the enemy. I don't even. I mean,
like Colonel Sanders made a cameo in the game at the very beginning.
yeah, he did.
But it's like when you end, you get 3 lives, and when it dies, you have
God.
2 options: you have retry or continue.
Yeah. Okay.
So which
here's
one
pop
would you
quiz.
do?
Yeah.
Isn't the same thing? Like retry is continue, right?
If you died and you hit the game over screen and it said retry or continue, those are your 2 options.
And retries first.
And retry is in the first slot. Ben, what would you pick?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
The return of Robot Ben.
Robot Ben.
Ben, you there? Uh-oh.
Oh shit! Is it?
I heard shit.
I heard shit.
Okay,
Yeah, let's do that.
Hold on. Let's call him back.
Well, how about you, Pete? Let's just continue on with it. I'll call him back here. Pete, if you got to that screen and it said retry or continue, and,
sorry, can-
and retry
sorry.
was first.
We can hear you now.
Yeah,
Okay, good. Yeah, if it happens, just boot me out. Call me again. It should
That's what
work.
we did.
yeah,
That
we
was all
got
good.
you. But what would you pick, Ben? What would you?
Sorry, what was the question
Okay.
again? My thing faded out.
If you're playing a game, in this case Dynamite Ducks, and you died and you hit the game over screen, and on the game over screen, it gave you 2 options. The first option is retry. Second option is continue, and retry is on the top. It's your first option. What would you pick?
Well, as a red-blooded man, I always want to be on top, so I would pick retry.
I mean, but that makes sense to you, right? You would click retry because you'd want to retry the
Yeah,
round, right?
in all seriousness, yeah, because it's the first option, and secondly, you just failed a level, so you
Right,
want to retry that level.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pete, what would you do?
If not having watched the video, I probably would have chose continue. That would just be me.
So
But
retry.
honestly, it's a very, very close.
So-
They're both the same thing.
So Ben, retry takes you to the very beginning of the game again. Complete beginning of the game.
So retry the whole game is basically what it means.
Yeah.
The entire game, whether you're on the last boss or you just.
But why
died.
does it even give you that option?
Why would you pick that? Why would anyone want to pick that? Oh, I'm on level 3. Let's start from the beginning. Fuck it. That's just, I don't know. It's so
It should,
broken.
it should say like new game or start over or something. That's so
Start
misleading.
over.
Start
yeah.
over. I agree. We agree. I don't know what.
Or have a timer like count on continue and then 10 seconds to choose or not, and then it goes to the beginning, or whatever, like most games. But anyway, the game is broken, but it's not, it's not that terrible a game. I've played worse.
Yeah, I played a lot worse.
But it's like the enemies are really hard to kick, and your foot only goes out so far.
You
so,
can't attack shit. It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
You don't know when your ammo is going to be in. You know, it's like
Yeah, I don't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend that on my worst enemies.
Do they have a Genesis port of that?
Oh God,
No, I don't think so.
I'd be curious to get a Genesis.
it really would be.
16-bit version. But
See, I'll look that up real fast.
Yeah, look that up. So what else? I have some news, but were you doing something else first? Was there
Well,
something else? I feel like Pete,
Since
we
we're on the
interrupted you.
topic of sort of semi-Sonic the Hedgehog,
Oh,
there was a birthday
oh yeah,
this
that's
past Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
Sonic the Hedgehog's 20th anniversary.
that makes me
Which,
so old. I feel so old.
right.
Dude.
Seriously, dude, I
Me
remember,
too, dude.
I
I was just
remember
thinking
when
that.
he came out.
Holy
You know,
shit, man.
Yeah, so that was, I don't know, it was a pretty exciting day. I was basically on the internet all day just, reading up Sonic articles and being on the message boards and such,
Can I just tell you, Pete? I watched the video of you playing Sonic as a kid.
Yeah.
You haven't changed one bit. You are the same.
People like watch this video that I posted where it shows me getting a Genesis for Christmas, and they're like, why aren't you flipping out and screaming? Because that's just not the kind of kid I was. I wasn't raised that way, to start flipping out and screaming because I got a new game system. Then, I just always had a calm attitude about me. Despite getting a Genesis with Sonic the Hedgehog 2, I was happy. But I'm not going to go screaming about it.
Crazy, because I always did.
That video of you playing Sonic 2 also was pretty fun. Was it Sonic 1 I think you were playing, or Sonic 2?
Sonic
It
2,
looked like
yeah.
Sonic 2,
So
yeah.
funny watching
Yeah, it was
watching
cool.
you play. Because you're so hard, die hard into it, and you're playing really good on it too.
I don't know who was filming,
I
your
look
dad or
back
your
on it,
mom, but
I'm like, holy shit! Like I just beat that boss like within seconds. I was surprised by myself.
How old were you in that video?
6,
Wow.
and I made it pretty far into the portions that were recorded. I was pretty far into the game.
Yeah, that's funny.
Well, that's because that's all I used to play. I was actually playing it at my grandfather's house because it was funny because he had originally bought a Genesis, to sort of give a reason for me to, of course I wanted to go over and see my grandparents, but that was sort of one of their ways of saying, hey, come over and, hang out with grandma and grandpa. We got a Sega Genesis here. And of course, that was always a cool thing to go and do over there, especially because my grandpa played games. And up until recently, he was, a pretty hardcore game player. He'd play Tomb Raider on PlayStation and Doom and Wolfenstein and all kinds of stuff.
What
But
a
we used to play the
gangster.
Genesis. Yeah. We used to play the Genesis quite often. And Sonic, of course, was one of my favorite games to play. So that's all I used to play when I went over there was the Genesis and the Sega CD and everything. So granted, I got really good at Sonic games. And then that same year, my dad saw how much I liked the Genesis and Sonic. So that's what I got for Christmas. But those games, I'll have to say, for the anniversary, I went back and I played some Sonic 3 on Xbox Live Arcade. My God, like even today, Sonic 3, I'll admit, was one of my least played Sonic games. For some reason, I just couldn't get into it as much as the others. And it's a pretty tough and challenging game. And I'm sure a lot of people out there that are Sonic fans will, they'll agree with me. Those are not easy games to play as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's just true with any of those platform games, like back in the day. You had 3 lives, 3 continues. That's it.
A lot of it's memorization, though, with Sonic, because, you do go so fast at times. It's all about just remembering where you got to jump when the enemy's coming up. Because a lot of times you're blindsided. You'll just be running along and they place an enemy in front of you and, you just got to know it's going to be there.
Do you ever find that, when you had a game that was a favorite of yours as a kid and it was a tough game, you mastered it, you learned everything about it, you could beat it with your eyes closed. You go back to it 20 years later, you can't get a level into it.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Totally happens all the time.
exactly.
I remember my very first memory of seeing the Genesis. I remember going to my buddy's, his name was Philippe, back in elementary school, back in 91 when Sonic came out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember the first time I saw that game, going over his house. And at the time I had the NES, and I had a ColecoVision, I had an Atari, I was just been blown away by the speed of Sonic and the graphics, and right, like the very opening sequence when you go over the water and he comes out and he points his finger, or whatever, and he's waving it, whatever. Just being blown away with the graphics, and I was hooked from this. I fell in love with Sonic. That, I mean, not as much as like to Pete extent, but no, it's a great game, and it's hard to believe it's 20 years old. It's crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Yeah, like I've mentioned it before, Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2 really just helped me get into games as much as I am today.
Yeah.
And that's why I have such a close affinity for Sonic. Like, people think that I'm obsessed with all Sonic games and everything like that. And, granted, I own quite a bit of Sonic stuff, and I have, a lot of Sonic games. That's because I just have a very deep attachment to. I love the character of Sonic, and just ever since a kid, I've liked Sonic, and I'm not obsessed with all the games. I don't go on about bragging about how great, every single new Sonic game, saying, oh, it's the best game that come out this year. I don't really do that. If a Sonic game is bad, I'll definitely, say it. Like Sonic Adventure 2, a lot of people believe that's one of the best Sonic games current generation, or I guess you can say post Genesis Sonic games. I don't really care for Sonic Adventure 2 that much. And in Sonic Colors, I went on and on about how such a great game it is. That's because looking past, it being a Sonic game, it's actually a really good platformer. But no, Sonic, I don't know. It's not my favorite game series out there by any means. Not, most of the games wouldn't even crack my top 10 with the exception of Sonic 2. But the character, I just really enjoy the character.
Yeah, he's cool. I remember playing the Game Gear
way
version.
Past cool.
Yeah, he's cool. No, I remember picking up the Game Gear version, coming home, being excited. I'm like, oh, I'm finally going to be able to take Sonic to go. Being so pissed how shitty that Game Gear version was compared to the Genesis, the older brother version. Terrible.
I'll just be one to admit I didn't own a Sega Game Gear as a kid. I had, the Game Boy, so I missed out on all the Game Gear Sonic games. But, playing them today, years later, I have to admit I don't really think I missed out on much.
The version you should play, Pete, is the Gamecom version.
Yeah, I have that. It's probably the absolute worst Sonic game I've ever played.
The shadowing
the thing is the lag.
Yeah.
Oh my God. If any of you out there, by all means, if you want to try like the worst Sonic experience, buy a Gamecom or game.com, as many refer to it. It's very cheap. You can get the system extremely cheap, and buy Sonic Jam on the Gamecom. It's you can get it for a couple of bucks just to experience how terrible it is.
It's by Tiger, and it was a touchscreen. Actually, one of the first portable handhelds with a touchscreen. Came out way before the DS did, but it's like black and white. And it's cartridge based, but they had like really good third party support. I'm really surprised.
Yeah, they had all sorts of great games.
Yeah,
Resident Evil, Mortal Kombat,
Duke 3Ds on
Duke
that.
3Ds on it. Yeah,
all kinds of stuff.
Unbelievable. Tiger and Tiger made those were classic for the LCD handhelds,
Virtual Fighter and everything. Yeah,
it's crazy.
You know what my favorite Sonic game on the Game Gear is? Anyone want to guess?
Hold on, let me
Sonic
guess.
Pinball.
Okay, that's your guess.
Now, give me a hint here, Jason. Is it one of the obscure ones, or is it more?
No, it's mainstream.
Sonic Triple Trouble.
Okay, there's your guess.
Wasn't there like a Sonic 3D one, like a 3D Sonic?
Yeah, but the interesting thing about that is the Sonic Blast, they call it, I believe, on the Game Gear. It's actually it gets people get it confused with 3D Blast. Sonic Blast on Game Gear is actually and Master System. It's actually a 2D platformer that has graphics that mirror, say, you know how the animation is sort of in Donkey Kong Country. If you can imagine that in Master System and Game Gear form with the sprites, that's what it is. So it's its own totally unique game from Sonic 3D Blast.
Okay, so Sonic Blast would be my guess.
My favorite Sonic game on the Game Gear. John, you got it. Sonic Spinball.
Spinball, yeah.
That's what it's called, right? Spinball.
Yeah, Spinball. You're right.
Yeah.
It's not Pinball.
I just really love that game. I don't know what it is.
Classic game.
It really is good.
It's really good.
I found myself, at the time, I had Mortal Kombat 2. I had all sorts of great games that I still have for the Game Gear. But I found myself always, that was like my diehard game. I would go back and just pop it in and just keep playing it and playing it and playing it. I don't know. It never got old for me. Really liked it. Really unique. Just, I don't know. It was cool. Like Sonic's the pinball, like you go around and I don't know. It was really cool.
Spinning,
yeah.
I like the Genesis version for sure. That's good.
Just an update. I checked Dynamite Ducks. The platforms that appeared on were the arcade, Amiga, Amstrad, CPC, Atari ST, Commodore 64, Master System, of course, and the ZX Spectrum.
So most of them were computers.
They're all older, the computers.
Vintage computers. Dude, we gotta get Johnny an arcade. Dynamite Ducks arcade.
I'm gonna do a quick search. I wonder if there's even one like
going to yeah.
Well, I was gonna mention before. Is
it DUX?
Games. Go to KLOV.
DUX, yeah. Jason, you were saying, who the hell would want to buy, I don't know, you mentioned something about who the hell would want to buy something about Dynamite Ducks. Well, not that long ago, there was a plush doll for Being the Dynamite, which is, the Dynamite Ducks character on eBay, which of course was from a line of plushes from Sonic the Fighters. He's supposed to come with a bomb, but this particular plush was missing the bomb. Now, granted, the Sonic the Fighters plushes are some of the most coveted and wanted plushes in the Sonic collectibles that are out there. It sold for $250.
What?
Without the bomb.
What?
So that just
Come
tells you that
on.
there's some. I was going to bid on it, just because first of all, I have quite a few Sonic the Fighters plushes, and I wanted this one for my collection. Plus, it would be funny to have that for Johnny's sake. But no, that Sonic collectors are crazy.
That's the bomb, dude.
It was missing the bomb.
The bomb.
It's the bomb.
That's the bomb, bro.
Dude, I can't even find a picture.
Go killer list of video games.
Oh, you want me to go to Clav?
Clav.
I can't even find a picture of the freaking thing.
You're looking for a picture of what?
Just the
arcade.
cabinet. Yeah. Just the arcade cab.
So funny.
Dynamite Dukes. Let's see if we got it here.
He looks like Howard the Duck from that movie, Howard the Duck. You guys ever watch that movie?
No
George
pictures
Lucas?
of the arcade, but look at the graphics on the arcade. Look at the depth.
Oh, yeah.
It looks so much better. Look at Colonel Sanders. There he is.
Yeah. It looks like the same game, though, really, honestly.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
There's no story to it. Like, all of a sudden, your girlfriend gets taken away in a bubble, and you're fighting for no reason. You have no idea what... There's no... Help is the only dialogue in the whole game.
I have no idea.
So you found the arcade cab. What's the price for it?
Oh, we're just looking at the information.
We're just looking up the info, yeah, a bunch of screenshots and stuff.
Deciding Johnny Millennium's Christmas gift, I see.
Yeah, exactly. have the creator autograph it and shit. It'd be so
It
funny.
says that this is uncommon.
Yeah, I've never
Very
seen
uncommon.
one. Never seen one in person.
On a scale of 1 to 100, according to Clove here, a 100 being the most often seen, it is ranked number 4.
Wow.
That's how rare it is. Big time.
Wow.
It's almost like you have to make a pilgrimage to find some arcade somewhere that has it, just so you can say that you've actually played it.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Bet you Fun Spot probably has one.
Well, I have some news. I have some fun news for your first-person shooter minute.
Hold on, Jason's about to get paid another, what is it, $20 every time he mentions this game?
I've negotiated $22.50.
Okay.
Well, it is official, and it's taken a long time, but it now is official, folks. Jason Heine now has his own dedicated server for Battlefield Bad Company 2. Cha-ching.
Wow.
Pretty cool. So, I have a server that's called the Emulator Reviews 24/7 Team Deathmatch, presented by Jason Heine. You guys can search it in there. Turn off all your filters and search for it. We're usually playing Team Deathmatch. But really cool. I got it as of recording today. I got it yesterday.
How do you get one of those?
Yeah, I was going to ask that. What is it? What do you have to do to get a private? Like, how hard is it to get your own server?
It's pretty easy. It's a rental type of a thing. You pay for it. You pay a company, and then they set it up for you, and then they give you the program that lets you tap into it and modify config files and view who's in it, and just basically the configuration of the server itself that runs active. It's an actual program. So that's cool. I have that and have the server up. It's just a monthly fee is what it is. So I just started advertising it on Facebook yesterday, and even as we're speaking, the server right now is still full. People in there playing, which is really cool. So,
But so people can still find that by randomly searching for Team Deathmatch, I guess?
you can. You can find it by searching for either the map that it's currently on or the game mode Team Deathmatch, or you can sort it by ping, which a lot of people do for, to search the lowest latency. I want to let everyone know that it is located in San Jose, California, on the West Coast, United States. So I wanted to pick a server that was in that region because the closest one is, let's see, there's one in Seattle, which is too far, There's one in Texas, which I thought about doing, but I settled on California, just as having the most people.
What kind of control do you get over the server? Like, are you able to pick like everything, like all gameplay modes and such? What kind of control do you have over?
I have full control over everything.
He's God.
Yeah, I have game modes. I can rotate maps. I can stop games, start games. I can kick, ban people. I can private chat people. I can invite them to become admins. I mean, you name it. The description, the name, the banner, the length, the spawn times, everything. The vehicles, if they spawn or not, how quick they come back. It's crazy. Everything.
Wow, that's exciting, man.
Yeah, so I'm really happy about it. And so I want to mention that, you guys, if you want to get down and play, now is the time. I think the best way really to do it is to add me on Steam. I think Steam would probably be the best. I launch everything through there, and I kind of match up via Steam, so that works out good. So my Steam name is Jason169. That's Jason, is JAYSUN 169. That's my gamer tag on there. So
why 69?
Just a random number. I rolled the dice, and that's what it came up as.
Pervert.
Dude, I made that up when I was like, I don't know, when I first got my email address, like a long time ago. So,
well, something else I should have mentioned earlier on is that we're nearing episode 50. So we had mentioned this a couple of shows ago that we wanted to do a live, episode for it. So we're kind of trying to finalize that now. Now, this is not 100% because Johnny isn't here tonight to kind of 100% confirm this with us. But since we usually record on Tuesdays without much of a problem, we're going to go ahead and say that for now, the official date that we will be doing a live show for episode 50 is going to be on July 5th. And that is a Tuesday. I guess in terms of a time, I don't know. We'll have to discuss that, but just for now, just assume it's going to be 7 o'clock Pacific and
PM.
10
Yeah.
PM. Yes, PM Pacific and 10 Eastern Time Pacific. So do a little Google search there to find
Eastern
out what time zone.
Pacific.
clear your evenings.
Yeah, it's Eastern Time. Yeah.
Yep. So 10 Eastern PM. Now, once again, just want to make sure that is not 100%, but just kind of plan around that being the most likely day and time that we're going to do episode 50 live. And what we want to try and do is do a video live stream. Once again, this is not 100%. We might run into technical difficulties that make us do it an audio recording, but what we want to do is live stream on Justin TV/AllGen Gamers, and instead of just displaying a static image like in the past for our live shows, we want to do a video live stream where you guys can actually see us on screen while we record live. So normally when we did our live shows, we never really announced them on the podcast ahead of time. We kind of just did Facebook announcements and Twitter announcements, and sometimes we only gave people like 2 hours notice that we were going live. This time though, for episode 50, we want to give you sort of a head notice. So let's see, will there be another episode up for this one to remind people?
Yeah, 49. Yeah, because Johnny will be on that one too. So
yeah.
But we're also going to be naked during it too.
Totally.
Completely boxed.
From the neck down.
Got your Lacho Libre mask on, Jason?
You know it, Ben.
There we go.
So clear out your schedules for July 5th for now. And like I said, look up the times if you're in a different time zone. But we'll just have to confirm with Johnny. Like we said, we haven't asked him if that's a day and time that he will be able to make it, but we're kind of assuming because that's when we usually record on that day and time. So
sounds like we're going to have to do a lot of testing and troubleshooting.
I'm going to be on the road that week too.
So. Oh, you are?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that actually changes it up. Then we can just use your webcam from wherever you are in the world.
Yeah.
All right. That would make it actually easier. Because I could set up two...
Assuming that I'm going to be in the world.
Assuming that you are. I mean, you may be in outer space. Yeah. Visiting Dynamite Duck. Dish go, duck.
It's hilarious. Let's get into some questions.
Yeah, let's. You want to? I posted a Wales quick draw, and we just got blown up with questions, guys. So,
oh boy.
Yeah, we've got
Holy cow.
A shitload here, like 25, 30 questions.
And like Jason, where can people go to a quick draw? I'm confused.
Well, gosh, of course, John. Well, if people want to go do the Wales quick draw, you can go to our Facebook page on All Gen Gamers, the All Gen Gamers podcast Facebook page, and that's where we post on there. So make sure to click the little like button and like us, because we're so likable.
And if you need a direct link to the Facebook page, just go to oldgengamers.com, where you can also find direct links to any other things that are important, such as the forum and Twitter and all that stuff.
Absolutely.
All right, so
and
if anyone...
iTunes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and iTunes and all sorts of stuff. Our Justin
thank
TV.
you for all the people that left us reviews on there, by the way. I was reading them.
169, I think, or there's quite a few of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, it's gone up quite a bit.
Ratings, and quite a few reviews.
Yeah. That's fantastic.
We're usually constantly, if you go on iTunes now and you search for video game podcast, we're almost always up in the featured video game podcasts.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, because we're almost getting to almost a year old here.
Yeah.
So that's great.
And most of those other ones are like IGN and like big time gaming companies, that put the budget and stuff. And,
that's quite a feat.
Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's an honor.
So thanks, guys. Appreciate that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So for all of our new listeners, we do something called Whales Quick Draw here.
Ladies and...
Oh, that's the intro. Here's the sound. Basically, what we do is we go to our Facebook page and we answer your questions straight off of it. And we each have 1 minute to answer it. If you go over that minute, you hear the sound effect. That just means shut the hell up and move on. And the whales, he tells you. So that's where you can post on our Facebook, and we can go ahead and get right into it with our intro. You ready, guys? We haven't heard this in a while.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the Whales Quick Draw.
I love how you have a horse and a whale.
Horses and
doing each other.
Horses
Awesome.
and whales. That's
Fantastic.
right. The barnyard.
Love it.
Let's see. What do we got here? What do we got here? Oh, here's a good one from Jordan. Meeting Flipper, he asks.
I like Jordan. He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He asks, what is it about gaming that really grabs you in and makes you enjoy it so much? I think it's a great question.
That's a really good question.
I guess I'll start out since I asked it. What really stands out for me, what grabs me, is just being completely just immersed in the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I like playing a game and forgetting that I'm even sitting somewhere. I guess that's why I really like shooters so much, is because at a young age I would play them, I would feel like I was there, I would feel like I was actually walking around in a first person view, and that's something that just I really love. But I love the music, I love the way the games look, I like being able to control something on the screen, and I really feel like I am doing something great for that game. So that's really what grabs me and pulls me in. John, what about you?
I totally hear you with like Duke Nukem giving the strippers the tips, and I totally feel like I was there giving the strippers.
It was just last week, and we really were there.
Oh wait, no, you're right. We were actually at a strip club the other week. Never mind then. No, I totally agree. It's kind of it's a getaway for me. Get away from the real world, because life is stressful, work sucks. And for me, games kind of bring me to that element where I can just not worry about the stress in life, because we all deal with stress. Right?
Bullshit.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
I hate
so it's a getaway, and especially growing up in high school, I wasn't necessarily like I wouldn't say picked on, but there were bullies, So for me, it was just kind of a way I would always play Street Fighter, pretend that I was the guy kicking their ass in Street Fighter, kind of, kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but it was a getaway for me, and it felt good, Rather than bringing the violence to them, I just took it out in video games. So Pete, to you.
I guess, you guys said most of it, but to sort of look at it from a different perspective, I would basically say everything you said, but I want to look at it from an online perspective. So talking about online games, such as, say, Final Fantasy XI, it really lets you live in this virtual world. And, like you said, you lose yourself and you don't think about anything else when you play these games. Or let's say, if you're playing a shooting game, like, say, Unreal Tournament or Call of Duty or something, and being able to get good at these games, like how good I was back in the day at the older SOCOM games, you get a sort of nice satisfaction from just completely owning noobs and getting to shit talk them, Whereas in real life, if you were shit talking people the way you were on these games, you'd probably get your ass kicked. So being able to safely do it from behind the TV screen and a microphone, there's something you can live sort of like I guess you can say almost an alternate personality at times where
you can live like a motherfucking badass.
You live vicariously through the character you're playing.
Yeah. You know how fun it is when you own a shit talker and you can kind of, teabag them and SOCOM and you know how it is.
Hell yeah.
Totally.
What about you, Ben?
I think it's been said. For me, it's the immersion, it's the escapism, it's all that stuff. I think for me as well, as I've gotten older, I find that I have less time to myself these days because I have a busy job. I have lots of other stuff going on. Video games represent what I would call me time. Time when I could just sit down, be by myself, not have any obligation to anyone else, and just immerse myself in a game. And really where it hits me at the core, and this goes way back to when I was a kid, but when you're playing a game and, you start off, you're going through the motions, then it suddenly hits you, like it clicks on the right way and you realize this is an excellent game. It's this great feeling, like, same as you get if you're listening to a really good song that hits you the right way, or you see a really good movie that leaves you thinking. Gaming kind of gives me that feeling as well when a game clicks with me in the right way, and I just love it. And I'm always chasing that feeling whenever I play a game. So that's kind of what grabs me about it. Maybe it sounds almost like a drug addict looking for his fix, but I find that I love the feeling I get from playing a really good game. It just helps me forget the world. It helps me, just kind of be in my own. And that for me is what gaming really represents. So everything you guys said and that. Beautiful.
Perfect. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we got here. Here's a good quick one. Corey Groomer, what's your favorite Street Fighter? His is Alpha 3. Easy one. Easy, quick one. Mine, Street Fighter 2. Original Street Fighter 2. Easy, hands down. John?
Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Hands down. The best one ever for the Saturn.
This guy's so full of shit.
Yeah, I'm bullshit. I'd probably agree with Jason. Street Fighter 2. It's a classic. I shouldn't say it really started all because obviously there's one before that, but it was
the mainstream one.
It was
that
the mainstream
really
one.
Pulled me in, but I think a lot of people.
Have you played the original Street Fighter?
No, I haven't.
Oh, have any of you guys played the original Street Fighter?
Nope.
It was.
Do you have it?
It's on the PC Engine. You can get it's called Fighting Street, but it's weird. Like the whole cabinet. And I wish Johnny was on here because he could probably tell me more about it. But it's like you punch it. You actually punch the cabinet.
Oh, we talked about this. Like 6 months ago.
And
it actually has red. It actually has red balls.
Yeah.
That you punch, right?
Yeah. And there's the only three characters that were in there. They initially were like Ryu, Ken, and Sagat. And that was it. Those are the only three that characters actually carried over. And it's like you'd punch and shoot in a Hadouken or whatever. But it's funny.
What were they thinking when they named him Sagat?
I don't know.
Like Bob Saget? Was he even around then?
Yeah, sure. He's around there.
He was.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah.
that's what they're thinking. Just side note.
Well, M. Bison's after Mike Tyson.
They're getting clever.
No, I'm serious.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. They're getting. Clever.
But then in Japan, that's how it is. And here, they switch it in Japan, whatever. It's vice versa. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question here.
Hold on. Wait. What's your favorite Street Fighter?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ, that's your favorite Street Fighter?
Yes.
Wow.
No, it's probably, I'm just going to go with the one that I first played, which is Street Fighter 2 Championship Edition on the Sega Genesis.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's good.
I like the Genesis port, man. It's a good port, too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Ben, how about you?
I would say Super Street Fighter 2 on the Super Nintendo. And the reason being is that I was a big Mortal Kombat boy back in the early 90s when it came out. And that was the one. Yeah, that was the one game that kind of tore me away from it. A friend brought it over, and I loved it. I actually got the controls, whereas in the arcade, I'd just be mashing buttons and hoping for the best. So, yeah, the Super Nintendo version was my favorite of them. It's also one of the only ones I played, so,
Although I think the Mortal Kombat version for Super Nintendo is the worst version.
Really? Why is that?
Mortal Kombat for the Super Nintendo?
You're talking about Mortal Kombat now.
Mortal Kombat.
What? The first one.
The first one, right? Yeah, first one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Terrible. They took the blood away, and
I agree.
They totally censored this.
It looked better than Genesis.
Graphically, yeah, it did.
Yeah, but other than that, it failed all over the place. Yeah, I agree. Totally agree.
They got it right with Part 2, though, and they left the blood in. And
Part 2 is superior.
Wasn't there a blood code for the Mortal Kombat 1, though, on Super Nintendo?
You could I did this. You could hook in a Game Genie, and then you could put in a code, and it would turn the sweat red.
Mm-hmm.
It looked like shit. It looked almost no different.
Okay.
It doesn't give you the same same feel.
Yeah.
So no.
And it doesn't restore the fatalities either. So
No,
really
it
all
doesn't.
you're getting is just a different color.
Because they didn't even code the fatalities in. They're not even in there.
Yeah.
No.
Can't even do them. Not possible.
So the other question that I think he changed his avatar specifically to an eco avatar to get my attention. So Jack Squires, his question is, were you allowed to play M-rated games as kids? And if you, how... Wait, hold on a second. He's wording this strange. Were you allowed to play M-rated games as kids? And if you, how kids, what age would you allow them to play M-rated games? If you have kids.
If you
I
have
guess,
kids,
yeah, so that was a
yeah.
typo in his part. As a kid, I honestly, most of the games that I gravitated towards, well, the ESRB was introduced in, I think, like 1994. So I guess that's, Sega Genesis times and such. And as a kid, most games that I gravitated towards tended not to be M-rated games. I guess you can say, Mortal Kombat and such would be probably the most hardcore at the time. And it's kind of funny, as a kid, I went over my parents' friend's house, and their kid had Mortal Kombat on Sega Genesis, and his mother made him turn off the blood when I was there, because he was, I think, around the time, I think he was like maybe 14 years old or something like that, and I was like 7 or 8 or something. But his mom made him turn off the blood, and I was thinking to myself, man, what, I can handle this blood. It's not gonna, it doesn't affect me in any way, but my parents, from what I remember, they didn't pay attention to the ratings at all. So I was playing anything that I wanted, but I gravitated towards more of the platformers and such. And to answer the second part of the question, if I had kids now, would I allow them to play M-rated games? I think I would probably hold back and not let them play games like, LA Noire, Grand Theft Auto, stuff like that. But other games that get M ratings just for the blood and such, I don't think I'd, mind letting them play that. But if it comes to cursing and naked bodies and such, I think I'd be a little restrictive.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jason?
I had every M-rated game in the book back in the day. And
look how you turn out.
Look how I turn out. I'm fucked. Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. Well, the thing is that, like, back in the day, when violence in video games, this was huge news, you guys. You remember this. This was huge news. We'd see this shit on CNN. And, they were talking about how, violence in video games and kids and parents and blah, 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 blah. And you would want to buy a game just because it had M on it, and at least in my neighborhood. But the thing is, I had a lot. But really, when it came down to it, I started to migrate into, I wanted to play games that I just really enjoyed. My parents, they always were like, it's pretty violent, Jay says pretty violent. I'm like, yeah, it's pretty cool too, and they're like, all right, whatever, so they let me play them. They were really cool about it. Now, music, that was a little different story. I remember, just a real brief story. I wanted to buy Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. This was 1994. And I remember my mom saying, now, I'll let you have this as long as you don't say any of the cuss words in the music. Can you promise me that? I'm like, bitch, absolutely.
Really? You said
No,
that?
I didn't say that. I was like, yes, of course, Mom. Look at me. I turned out okay. I turned out fine.
Yeah.
So anyway, good stuff. But then I guess the second part of the question, would I let my kids play M-rated games? Yeah, sure. It's a matter of me being the parent, teaching them right from wrong, and showing them this is wrong, this is right, this is violent, this is non-violent, and let them, I don't know. I don't really see a problem with it as long as, you show them that, this is wrong, this is right. But of course, games now are way more violent and way more graphic than they were back in the day. We're talking about, some fake looking blood and ripping heads off that look cheesy and corny. Now we're talking about, you saw Duke Forever. I mean, you're basically, you're there fucking people, so I don't know.
That's a long minute, by the way.
Here. Sorry.
He's the one with a button.
Sorry.
So, here's the deal, and Jason kind of alluded to it at the very end of what he was saying there, but games back when we were growing up were a lot less violent than games today. And you look at Night Trap. Remember the game Night Trap?
Oh yeah.
It was
From the CD, right?
All I think
Sega
is Pillow
CD.
Fight. That's
All they do is pillow fight and like lingerie, not even lingerie, just like
Panties.
90s, whatever.
Panties.
And it was
Panties.
a huge controversy, and it like got taken off shelves, and that really started the whole rating system for games today. We had games like Mortal Kombat that like were really bloody, but nowadays you have like nudity
Yeah. Which
God of War
wasn't around
3.
then, yeah.
No, you didn't have that. And you got nudity, you got Grand Theft Auto where people like you can blow someone's head off. So to answer your question, yes, I'll allow my kids to play, but I think they have to be a certain age. I think they have to be a certain maturity. And yes, Jason brings up a good point. You have to be a good parent and teach them right from wrong. But I think at a younger age, kids are like a sponge and they do absorb things like crazy. And you got to be really careful of that. So
yeah, I agree. There's an age. There's got to be an age.
There's definitely got to be an age. And I don't know what that age is, honestly. Maybe 12, 13. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was going to say 12.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Something around that. Yeah.
Yeah. Ben.
So, yeah, I think it's been said. I mean, when I was a kid, there weren't really M-rated games around. They kind of took effect around, I'd say, 94, 95 when the whole Mortal Kombat controversy came into play. And I was already 15 years old by then. So my parents really didn't have any reservations about me playing them. I think nowadays, if I was a kid today, my parents probably would have an issue with it because, as you said, the games are more violent. There's a lot more graphic detail. Like I was just playing LA Noire the other day, and you see like a naked woman with her head bashed in. I mean, that's something you never would have seen that back in the day.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, my parents didn't have a problem with it. They also let me see slasher movies. They let me listen to objectionable music. I mean, what they did for me was they gave me the context. As Jason said, they were the good parents who kind of realized, if they don't give it to me, I'm going to get it somewhere else. I'm going to have a friend who has it. I'm going to have people at school who are going to lend it to me. So they can't really stop it. So they took the alternate approach and they said, we're going to teach Ben, right from wrong, the fact that what you see in the game or movie or hear in the song is not what reflects real life. Don't lose that context. And I had no problems. I mean, I loved Mortal Kombat. I loved all the shooters. It didn't make any difference. But to answer the second part of the question, what age? It's kind of hard to tell because kids today are a lot way ahead of where they were when I was a kid. And I feel horribly old saying that, but it's true. The internet and TV and all that stuff has kind of brought about an awareness in them. So like Gamester said, I would definitely look at the maturity of the kid and, how they're able to handle it and process it. And if I felt they were in danger from playing something like that, or if it was so horrible, I would probably hold it back from them. But I also wouldn't try to shield them either. I would try to teach them as opposed to, pretend it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Right.
Man, I was raised on horror movies. I started off young.
This is the guy who's seen Human Centipede.
Yeah, people think I'm like wacko or something for watching Human Centipede and like these shock movies. Which, by the way, if you haven't seen the film Martyrs, I think I mentioned it before on the podcast. You
did. The Halloween episode.
That's one crazy movie. Yeah, go watch that if you want a nice little shock movie. But no, I was raised watching horror movies. That's all I watched. That's all I really do watch now, besides sci-fi and fantasy once in a while. But horror movies, gotta love them. Even back then, my parents, they started, while other kids were buying G.I. Joes and stuff, and I was buying monster toys. So that's how I was raised.
I used to walk around my school with a Freddy Krueger glove. I mean, I was a child of the 80s and horror movies were a big thing.
That would not fly today, boy. Not in school.
No, expelled. I think the police would come and like pull a fucking Elian Gonzalez on me and take me out with machine guns. But yeah, back then every kid did that. Every kid went out for Halloween as Jason. We had the bloody machetes.
Rough.
Yeah, I was Jason.
It was rough.
Jason Heine?
Rough, motherfucker.
Yeah,
rough.
Tough.
Even at an early age, I aspired to be Jason Heine, and I'm still not there.
Yeah, the mask isn't gonna cut it, bitches.
I could only be that good looking in my dreams.
I'm flattered. No homo.
Exactly.
Cool. Question. What's the next one?
Pete, you got one?
I've got one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, it's from Andrew Holmes. If you could pick any Nintendo game to get a Nintendo 3DS remake, what would it be and why?
Like NES? Does he mean like NES game or any Nintendo game in general?
Any Nintendo game, that's the exact wording of it. So I guess any game from any generation. I've always maintained that they really need to do quality remakes of the original Castlevania games on the Nintendo, because those were my favorite games as a kid. So I would love to see them with updated graphics, updated music, following the same general plot thread. But the original NES Castlevanias, those would be my choice. Pete, on to you.
I don't care if it's on the DS already. I want another port of Super Mario 64. They can keep the same old graphics. They don't have to update them, even though that would be nice. But being able to play the game with a proper joystick, I guess you could say, with the circle pad with 3D, to be able to judge your jumps even better with the 3D depth, that would totally be my pick. Jason.
I I'm thinking Donkey Kong Country.
It's a good one.
I'm thinking Donkey Kong Country because that game has a lot of depth as it is. It has a lot of levels that have the trees in the background, and there's like the snow levels. It's snowing up close, and there's snow far away. There's a lot of depth there, and I can see that really, really coming to life on a 3DS. So I would love the Donkey Kong Country trilogy to be redone for 3DS.
That would be amazing.
I think that'd be quite a show there.
That'd be cool. I'm surprised Jason didn't say Killer Instinct.
Well, I don't think we're ever going to see it, and I cry every night about it.
Yeah, but that'd be. I mean, can you imagine that in 3D? The way the stages move around and
I would be just thrilled. My panties would be wet. I'd be very happy. Panties.
Gosh, I don't know. I mean, I think Donkey Kong Country is a good choice by Jason. Honestly, that's a good one. Yoshi's Island would be sweet.
Oh, great game.
Mm-hmm.
Great game.
3DS.
That'd be cool, little cartoonies type,
Yeah,
3D.
really interesting.
Paper Mario would be cool too.
Well, they're coming out with that eventually.
Are they? Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I don't know what happened, Pete, but for some reason you just got really, really loud.
Oh, sorry. I moved. See, I hold my mic. I don't have it on a table, so I can get really low like this, and I can get really loud like this.
What's weird?
Is this about the right level right here?
I'm getting a whole bunch of feedback too for some reason. Hold on.
Is that me?
No.
Okay.
No. All right, we're all good now. We're good.
Okay.
Okay.
I have another question.
So I got.
Go ahead, John.
I've got a question that I want to read from someone. This is by our friend Billy Hudson, Captain 8-Bit. And he asks, what is your biggest challenge and what stresses you out most about having a YouTube channel?
That's a big question.
So I guess I'll start. Considering I have about 5 million YouTube channels.
YouTube whore.
This guy's got a lot of stress.
I'm a YouTube whore. What the fuck is a YouTube whore? Seriously?
I don't really know. I don't know.
Anyway. Okay, so anyway, what stresses me out is the PMs, and I do appreciate all the PMs, but I know Pete has the issue too, but it's like I get 50 PMs and I respond to them all, and I get like 30 people respond back right away. And then they get 50 more people. So it's like a snowball effect, and you just get buried in PMs, and I don't want to be an asshole. I do reply to everyone, but it just takes so much time.
YouTube's PM system sucks.
And you can't see the backlog of like what you're. So people will be like writing me back, and not to sound like a jerk, but I don't remember what necessarily it was about, and so then I have to look back on like previous PMs and go like, oh, it's just a nightmare. So that stresses me out. But in the end, it's worth it. I do appreciate people reaching out to me and talking to me. I appreciate that, and I hate like writing someone and then not get back to you. It's like the really bad feeling. So I do my best to get back to everyone I can, but that stresses me out. Pete, I know you're probably more so because you've got like twice as many subscribers as I do. So
the same thing as what you said. That would probably be my biggest concern with YouTube. And there are times like right now where I have a backlog of messages, and I feel very bad when I don't get back to people on time because if a message falls back a few days and more messages pile on top of it, it's very, very time consuming to go back and answer.
Out of curiosity, how many PMs do you have right now that you need to read? Top of your head, I'm about 60 right now.
Let me see. I'll tell you in a second.
And I was thinking about after the podcast, I got to go back and it takes me about an hour to do about 50 in an hour.
Well, the thing with Facebook too is it's even more on top of that.
Yeah, it's true.
Hold on, I'm on my
Facebook has the best PM system.
And I forgot to mention that's just my Games 31 channel. I get more through my other channels too. So
I don't know how the hell you can keep up with that.
Like 400 emails a day. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's all good.
My inbox right now, 400.
400.
Yep.
Wow.
I'm ready.
That's just because there's times where I work back to back, and I just I get home and I don't go on the computer. I just go straight to bed, and usually have to wake up and go right back into work. So in those couple of days where I really don't get a chance to answer messages, it builds up.
Yeah, that's
400 is not from a couple of days. It's not that crazy, but it gets to the point where it gets so backed up, and it gets to that point where I have hundreds of messages I have to go back. And, it sucks because there are messages where it's like, it doesn't make sense to respond at a later date because the message just, it's not relevant anymore. The person's like, hey, I'm going out to the stores, in 2 days. What game should I get? And it's like, why would I, it's like responding to that to me, it's, I do respond and say, hey, sorry about the late reply. And, I usually will try and answer them, but other messages where people, they ask for like my top 10 games for like 5 systems that they should buy, or the biggest thing that people ask me are game recommendations, which I have no problem giving game recommendations, but they often ask me for, 10 different games for like 5 different systems. And it's like, whoa, it does take quite a bit of time. And I don't blurt out just any old answers. Like if they tell me that they're into certain games, I will literally look at my collection and give them game recommendations that I feel would be best for them. So it's very time consuming, but like you do, John, I do appreciate all the PMs. It's just very, very hard to keep up with.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Jace.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, and I'm nowhere near the level you guys are at, but, yeah, I maybe, I have like 30, I think, right now, and I can still tolerate that. I can still get to everybody. But, that is the problem. I guess I will say in the grand scheme of things is that the YouTube PM system is horrible. I wish they would do like how Facebook does it. I think that's brilliant. Puts it in like a chat window type of a thing where you can always go back to it and look at previous conversations. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's the big problem is that you send a PM to somebody or they send you one, you reply, and then they reply back. And, they just keep building. It's a snowball. Building, and then it's hard. So if people can understand what we go through as having so many PMs, then that's great. Because I know a lot of people get offended and they think they're being ignored, and it's just really not the case at all. Mm-hmm. So, we all appreciate the PMs, and we do our best to get to them. That'd be it. You guys nailed it. What about... Well, Ben, you don't have a YouTube channel, do you?
I don't have a YouTube channel, and I'm always thinking to myself, I don't know how you guys keep up with all the PMs. I don't know how you deal with all the comments, because everyone kind of wants to know something. Everyone wants to ask you a question, and I'm hoping the more sensible side of your subscriber base will understand where you're coming from with this. I mean, you respond to one and 10 more come in. You can't keep on top of that, especially with real life, concerns overtaking YouTube, and as they should. So all I can really speak from is an audience perspective, and I don't PM you guys. I think not because I'm being a dick about it, but just because I know you have enough to deal with already. And chances are, if I have a question about a specific game, like, Pete, have you played this game? Johnny, have you played that game? I could probably go back and look through your videos and find it out for myself. I probably don't need to send a PM. I'd probably find out faster if I went back to your videos. So, I mean, my recommendation for anyone in my position who wants to know something, PM them on Facebook. They're all on Facebook. Or just go back and watch their videos if you're curious if they tried out a new game, because you're pretty much on top of, what you've been playing. So you can listen to the podcast or you can watch the videos and try to find that out,
You know PMs that really kind of irk me, that kind of like put me in a position like kind of awkward position, is like, I subbed you, can you sub me?
I don't even respond to that.
And it's so hard because I feel like if I don't respond, I'm an asshole. But then on the same note, like a lot of times I don't even have any videos up, so I don't subscribe to them. I subscribe to people that I feel like I'd want to watch their material for. I don't just subscribe for the sake of subscribing.
Absolutely. That's what it's intended for. Yes.
And I've never once from day one, even when I had like 10 subscribers, I never said, subscribe to me. I just did it. You can't get wrapped up in the whole subscriber count thing. It will happen when it happens. It will happen, it may not, it may, who knows, but just don't get so caught up on that.
It's not about subs. It's about content.
And having fun.
Period. That's what it's about. Your content.
Yeah. The only reason I would actually subscribe to anyone is because I like their videos.
Yeah.
When I do eventually start my YouTube channel, and I'm kind of in the works on how I'm going to do that. I'm really going to go ahead eventually, but I'm always going to have the policy that, subscribing to me does not obligate me to subscribe back, and vice versa. I don't expect you to, if you don't like my videos, don't feel like you have to subscribe. It should never, it's like Facebook.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there he went. And to finish his statement, just send a friend request on YouTube. If you don't want to sub, just send a friend request. We can all be friends.
Yeah, Ben, we can't hear you. We'll call you back.
Yeah, we'll call you right back. And that's really what it comes down to. So,
cool.
Pete, you got any more there, or should we move on to...
let's get into another segment.
All right.
Because I'm running out of some time, guys.
Roger that. Are you going to hit yours then? Your segment, you said?
Well, let's get into some games we've been playing.
Oh, Oh.
And then we can get into mine and we'll wrap it up. Cool?
Yeah.
Well, we promised an audio question,
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do
so
it.
let's maybe get that out of the way
Okay.
fast.
Where is this guy here? Where is the band Browland? All right. Yeah, I got a bunch of audio questions, and guys, wanted to mention again, if you would like to send us an audio question, please feel free to do so. We love them, and we'll get to answering them as soon as we can. You can send them to contact@allgengamers.com. Please send them an MP3 format or WAV format, whatever you can. It just makes my job a little bit easier getting them onto the soundboard here for us. So that'd be
far away.
that'd be excellent. So let's go ahead and get to some here.
Sorry, guys, I'm back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Hello.
Perfect.
Hello, all Gen Gamers. I'm going to try to keep this as brief as possible. I hope you haven't been asked this question before, but I recall Crow from the Retro Roadshow asking something similar a while back. But my question is, what is your most memorable video game finish? It doesn't necessarily have to be your favorite game's ending, doesn't even have to be a game you like. Just any title you sat down, completed, whether it was the gameplay, the ending itself, or just circumstance at the time. Which titles really stand out?
Was that vintage video
It
games?
Sounded just like him.
Because he spoke really slow like me.
His
Sounded-
long lost brother.
Sounded just like him.
It did.
Memorable ending. Pete, you got one?
Well, yeah, man, I got all these games going through my head right now. I guess I'll go with a more recent one. I really, really enjoyed the ending for Heavy Rain. Obviously, you know, I'm not going to give any spoilers because that'll just completely ruin the game. But like the last hour of that game, so, you know, they get to the climax of the story, and the fact that everything that you've been doing throughout the game, you know, up to the final moments reflects the ending that you get. It was just so, I guess you can say, overwhelming. It was like information overload, and just, I'll admit that I went through the whole game without reloading a save, but I got so emotionally attached to these characters that when I got to a point in the game where one of my main characters died, I'm like, fuck that. I want the ending that I wanted. So I reloaded the save so that I can save that character and get the ending that I wanted, which kind of, I guess, maybe ruined the experience for me because, you know, that's kind of cheating a little bit. Where for those of you that don't know, Heavy Rain is on the PlayStation 3 and it's a very story-driven game with cutscenes and, you know, quick time events taking up a majority of the gameplay. But everything that you do in the game will impact the rest of the story. So if a character dies, you know, it's going to impact the story. Choices you make impact the story and will impact the final ending of the game. So everybody that plays through it gets usually a unique experience depending on their decisions. But that's a story that really stands out to me recently. What about you, Jason?
Oh man, well, I really enjoyed the ending for Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare. I know that sounds weird, right? It sounds like a weird one, but you know, the Modern Warfare franchise, when that game came out, like it was kind of a new thing, like that being in the urban environment, being a more modern type of a combat system, you know, playing in these, you know, modern environments and cities and stuff. But anyway, going through the campaign there, I really got attached to my group of people that I was playing with there. And then at the very end, it's like the slow motion, you know, like we're about ready to get killed. We're down. The enemy's standing above us, about ready to shoot us in the head. And like your buddy like slides you a pistol in slow motion, and you grab that pistol and you come up and you fire at the enemy and you take him down. And it was, I don't know, it was something about it. But when that happened, when I finished the game and we got rescued and I was so relieved, I actually had a tear in my eye. I really did. That right there really stands out to me. Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare ending.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, John?
It's a tough one. I kind of agree with Pete. I like Heavy Rain, just a different varieties. And Pete, I'm sure you did the same thing, but when you beat it, did you like go to the last save spot and beat it again, different altered ending?
You know what? I only, like I said, when I got to the point where my character died and I got the bad ending, yes, I did reload it once to get the ending that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because I grew so attached to the characters, you know, it's like you want to see them.
You're on that like platform up top, whatever, and like
you know what I'm talking about, where you know the hammer,
So that was a cool ending. I liked the new Mortal Kombat. The story mode had a really cool ending to that. I forget the guy's the final boss guy battle, but it's the whole story for Mortal Kombat though is really well done because it puts it like I know I talked about earlier in a previous podcast, but Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 kind of in a story mode, and that was the last guy. Even on like I was on the easiest, but I wasn't like on the hardest. I was like somewhere in between difficulty. Super hard. The guy was I forget his name. I'm terrible with Mortal Kombat names, but that was a really cool ending. So Ben, how about you?
I'd say my favorite game ending, my game beat / game ending would be Final Fantasy 3/6 on the Super Nintendo.
Nice.
I remember that game. I played for a ridiculous number of hours way back when it came out. And as if you played it, you know, it's one of those games that has a lot of emotional highs, emotional lows. And when you finally get to the end, you fight for the time anyway, one of the most epic end bosses. It's like 3 levels that you're going up and you're beating them. And then it leads to this really cinematic ending, which was something that was very uncommon of games at the time. And I remember just being floored by it. So I still go back to it every now and again and watch it on YouTube, the whole ending. It's like 20 minutes long. It's fantastic. So that for me would probably be the most satisfying.
Cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, those Final Fantasy endings are cool too. I remember Final Fantasy 2 being really cool too.
That was brilliant.
Yeah.
I shed a tear for the Final Fantasy 9 ending. You 9 fans, I'm sure I'm not alone. For those of you that haven't played 9, get your asses out there and play that game. Christ, I can't tell you how many. I can't tell you how many people I talk to that play like all the Final Fantasies, and I'm like, "Oh, what do you think of 9?" And they're like, 9, which one? No, I haven't played 9. I'm like, "Oh, Jesus!"
Like, get out of
I guess I can't.
Yeah.
I can't talk
because
because
PS1, right?
Yes,
yeah.
Yep.
That was the last one on the PS1, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. But then, you know, then again, I can't really talk because I didn't start with the Final Fantasy series until 7. So I never, you know, I couldn't truly appreciate, you know, Final Fantasy 4 and 6, you know, because I didn't grow up playing them. I'm sure my opinions would be different had I played them, you know, back on the Super Nintendo when I had it. But I wasn't in the RPGs back then. It took me a while. 7 introduced me to RPGs.
That was a good question by Vintage Video Games Geek's clone.
His brother.
His brother. That was crazy.
Excellent.
You haven't played 9? You are not gamer. Get out of my face.
So, Pete, what have you been playing lately?
Jesus. See, now here's the problem. It's been so long since we've done games I bought recently, and games we've been playing recently. And the last time we did it, I wasn't on the show, so I can't even remember what the hell I talked about
recently?
The last time
Like recently?
Well, I guess I'll mention. Did I mention before that I got the Kinect in Child of Eden? I can't even remember.
I think you mentioned it before. What are your thoughts of the Kinect? Have you got any other games for it?
I'm returning that shit.
Really?
Yeah, because I can't remember if I talked about this last time, but I got it for Child of Eden, and it just my room does not permit it, and for some reason it just. In order for me to play, I basically have to tear apart my space here to make adequate room, because in order to play Child of Eden, it has to detect your full body. Despite, you know, only using your arms for some stupid ass reason, it has to detect your full legs and feet as well. So I have to stand up and play it and, you know, throw out my arm playing this game. I just want to say though, it's super fun on the Kinect. It's definitely worth buying a Kinect for if you have the proper setup to play it the correct way. But I went and I played it with the controller, and it's just like playing Rez, and that's not a bad thing. So using the controller is still a lot of fun to me for Child of Eden, which for those that don't know, it's the sequel to Rez. It's sort of like an on-rails, trippy, music and visual inspired shooting game. But I'd have to say it's totally worth $150 to pick the game up with a Kinect if you're that big of a Rez fan. If you don't have a Kinect, it's still worth $50 if you're into these types of games. If not, I'd say wait for the price to drop because the game is very short. You can beat it in like an hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. But there is a lot of replay value for unlockables and such. But I'll put it this way: if you have been super excited and you've known all along that no matter what content was in this game, you're going to buy it, I'd say it's totally worth the money. But if you're the type of person where you're like, I'm not too sure, I'd say maybe pass on it because it's kind of short, and if you're not quite sure about the experience, it might get very repetitive for you, and it might not be worth $50. But overall, though, I'd highly recommend Child of Eden. I definitely want to do a review of it of some sort. I did do some live streaming. What the hell else have I been playing? Obviously, Zelda. I've just been watching a lot of StarCraft 2 videos as well because I'm paying for it. I just paid $25 for a season pass for watching Team League on gomtv.net. So fellow StarCraft fans out there, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. The others, like you guys, you probably have no idea what the hell I'm always babbling on about with this StarCraft stuff. But yes, I pay money to watch this stuff. I barely play the game anymore, but it's just so fun to watch these guys play and root for my favorite players. Jesus, I've played so much I can't even remember. You know what? Revisit, come back to me. Someone else go, and I'll think of some other stuff I played, because I've played some stuff I just can't.
I'm trying to think.
It'll come back.
I've played quite a bit too. I've been kind of more retro lately, though. I've been playing. Looked at the Saturn and played Area 51 because we talked about it on a previous podcast. But it's a pretty good port from the arcade by Atari. It's just a classic shooter game. I'm trying to think what else I've been playing. Looked at the Super Nintendo. Played Yoshi's Island. We talked about Mario Kart, so I went out Super Mario Kart. I love that game. And the battle is awesome, too. I wish I had someone with me to play the battle mode, because that's... Jason, I'll hit you up next time. Come over, we'll play.
Do it. Yeah, absolutely.
It's a great game.
As long as you don't have Dynamite Ducks in the console.
Yeah, definitely. What else have I been playing? Golden Axe for the Genesis, Golden Axe 1 and 2. Because, again, we kind of talk about these items. I'm like, I want to work these out and play them. Even played some old classic ColecoVision. Playing Smurfs, even though it's kind of repetitious, just it brings back the memories. That's like the first game we ever played. As far as more modern games are concerned, still playing LA Noire. I'm on the third disc. I'm almost done with that game, but it's hard because I do a lot of shopping for work, so I don't put as much time into as much as I like. But it's still interesting. I kind of find the LA Noire though it's very repetitious. I know, Ben, you picked it up, right? You mentioned it before. But I feel like you go on these cases and, you check out the chick who's naked and you're kind of like, moving around but then like you go to a place and the guy runs away and then you have to chase him. It's just the same thing every time, and then you there's these clues you have to find. I mean, it's a cool story and all. I just feel like it gets very redundant after a while. I don't know if you felt that way too, but it's still worth trying out. Getting for sure, but that's pretty much it. I think Donkey Kong Arcade, playing some of that.
What's your score now? How high are you up to now?
I think like 105 is like my highest score.
Nice.
So I'm definitely not where like Jumbo Junkie. I think Jumbo Junkie got like 300 something thousand.
I keep seeing him and Kane both post video pictures like, oh, I'm in the triple digits. I'm here. Oh,
like such a random game though. Like it's so frustrating to play. But
it's hard.
Jason, what have you been playing, buddy?
I've been playing some Need for Speed, Hot Pursuit on the PC with my 360 controller plugged in via USB. Blow! Because that's how I game. And I love that. That's a great game. Mm-hmm. What else have I been playing? I, of course, mentioned this last time, but I've been playing through Duke. I'm still playing some Duke. I love that game. Duke Forever. Very good game. Doing some online, some deathmatch, stuff like that. Real cool.
Would you say it's worth buying that game for the deathmatch or not really?
I would, to tell you the truth, I would buy this game for the campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I want to get it, but I think I want to wait until the price drops. Yeah, it's
you know what? Yeah, wait for it to drop. It's going to drop soon. Definitely wait. I'm not saying it's a bad game at all. I think it's worth, for me, I think it's worth the full price, and I'm not regretting it at all. But, if you're not a hardcore Duke fan, you may not, you may come out of there not saying to yourself, man, I can't justify this purchase for full price. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd probably wait. The online's good. The deathmatch is good. They have team deathmatch. They have a whole bunch of different modes you can play. It's great. It's great. For me, I'm a campaign whore. I love going through campaigns on all these games. We're like in this world where everyone wants to play multiplayer, which I do too. Don't get me wrong, but I give more respect than most to the campaigns, and I think it's great. So I'd wait for it to drop. So Duke, of course, the big thing is really my Battlefield Bad Company 2 server, which is up, and I've been really working on that and playing that quite a bit for the last couple of days. So I'm really happy about that. That's taken a lot of my time. In the more recent, let's see, what else? I think that's really about it. I thought something else. I ordered something. I ordered the Wii Motion. Wii Play Motion, I think it's called. I got an email from Club Nintendo saying that, since you're a Club Nintendo member and you've got X amount of points or whatever it is, they'll give you the game for $20, $19.99, or something like that, without the controller. Because they sell a bundle with the controller, with the Wii Motion Plus and the game for like $50 or $60 or something. I don't know. And so I ordered that, and that came in the mail yesterday, but I haven't played it yet. So kind of looking forward to that. It just looks like, the original Wii Play was garbage. It was good. It had, like pool, and it had a bunch of other games, but what a bomb. What a bust. This one looks cool, though.
So you're saying that Wii Play didn't have any replay?
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I'm going to get shirts made with your face, and underneath is going to be me pointing and going, look at this guy. This is what it's going to be. Oh, it's classic. So anyway, looking forward to going through and playing some of those mini games. Looks like it had Frisbee and a bunch of other stuff that I think will be a lot of fun.
Can I make a confession? I haven't touched my Wii in 6 months. I just haven't played it. I hope you enjoy it.
It's okay. I hope you get your ass reamed like I have been with Lord of the Cock Rings.
I fucking was meaning to bring that for you to watch this week, dude.
If you bring it, I'll watch it.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Okay.
Watch it.
I will watch it, and I'll give my honest opinion on it.
Okay.
And being a person that's not really into fantasy videos, I will fucking watch
Jason,
it.
no. Have you ever seen at least video clips of it all? Do you have any idea of what it's about?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You will like it though. I have a feeling.
Ben,
I have a very open mind
You'll like it.
and
It's a
open
given.
legs.
it's a good.
Put it this way though, if you don't like the first film, try the second.
Now, Pete. Now, Pete. Look, if I don't like the first one, what the fuck makes you think I'm gonna watch the second one?
Because the second one, if you're more into battles and like big epic shit like that, the first one is more about building character relations and getting the foundation laid. And if you like the characters and you like the way the story's going, then hell, you'll probably love the second one.
What if
But
I just watch the second one then?
No, you can't.
No,
You'll be
because it's linear.
completely
It's a
lost.
story.
You have to go with the first.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's a fucking trilogy,
Yeah.
and they're like 4 or 5 hours a piece, right?
No, they're not that
No,
long.
they're
2.5.
Not that long.
3.5
Not that long.
hours.
Because I got to think about this. I got a server to run now, guys. All right, I'll watch it. I'll do it.
Be open minded.
Very
You'll
open
like
mind. And
Just make sure you're in the mood to watch them. Don't force yourself.
Should I give them the extended editions or should I give them the regular first?
Give them the extended.
I'll extend it to them for sure.
what the fuck? Now you're making it longer. Look, I'm watching it.
Well, no, because the stuff that they put in the extended, a lot of it is like sort of comedic value that was cut out from the originals. So I think, it might. Jason seems like a comedic kind of guy.
I don't know where you get that impression, but I'm sorry, I interrupted you, John, like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, no, it's all good. Ben, what have you been playing?
Ooh, I've been playing a shit ton of
Are you
games,
done,
actually.
I'm sorry, Jason, were you done?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ton of games I've been playing. I'll be brief, but to touch upon LA Noire that you were talking about, Gamester, I just beat it actually the other week, and everything you said about it is true. It's very repetitious at parts, especially as you get onto the third disc. The missions do have a kind of rinse and repeat quality to them where, you find clues, interrogate someone, chase someone down, move on. It does get a bit repetitious. So it is, for fans of open world sandbox games, it's probably not the kind of game you want to go for because it's very linear. It's very much like, what's that other game? Mafia 2. Have any of you played that?
Yeah. I like Mafia 2, though. I actually like that game.
I really liked it, and LA Noire reminds me a lot of it. Just the setting,
Sure.
the linearity of it, because you have a big city, but there's really not a lot to do. Like, it's not like a Grand Theft Auto game where you can go anywhere. There's a ton of missions ranging from a ton of different stuff you can do. It's very story driven, so that's what I like about it. Because I didn't really like Grand Theft Auto 4, I didn't really like Red Dead Redemption, so LA Noire kind of hit the right note for me, and repetitious. It still kept my interest throughout
Did
the whole
you
game.
do all the side missions like when you were driving, or did you have your colleague drive all the time?
I wanted, in the beginning, I had my colleague drive, but then I figured out the only way you're going to be able to do the street crime missions is if you're driving yourself.
Right.
So towards the latter part of the game, I started driving more. And the one thing I don't like about the game is the vehicle handling. I know they tried to make it period specific, but there's a lot of missions where you have to chase someone down in a car. And if you hit a tree or a lamppost or anything, you're fucked because you can't pull your car in reverse and drive ahead. They handle like shopping carts. So they probably wanted to make it period specific, but the driving was kind of a little downside for me. But otherwise, I love the style of the game. I love the interrogation system. I love the collecting clues. You really feel accomplished when you actually get a branch of questions right. So I'm going to get the DLC because I know there's 3 extra cases that you can get. I'm going to get the Rockstar Pass. So
when is that coming out?
It's already out.
Oh, it's
actually.
already out. Okay, shit. Wow.
Yeah, there's 3 extra cases you can take, and if you buy them each individually, it's going to cost you roughly about 1,400 points. I kind of did the math. If you get the Rockstar Pass, it's about 960 points. You get all of the DLC, plus you get a few extra suits if you want to change your character's appearance.
Cool.
So you do get that. Other stuff I've been playing, got back into Borderlands recently, and I've been playing a ton of that.
Yeah.
I love that game. Actually, I'm going to be bold and say that's one of my favorite games of this generation. It took me a while. It took me a while to warm to it, but it's my kind of shooter because it's got a very lengthy campaign. I love the loot dropping. Like, I'm a huge loot monger, so it really appeals to me on that level. And it's just a lot of fun. I discovered the co-op, and I've lost countless hours in it. So Borderlands is, for me, becoming a fast favorite. What else? Crysis 2. I played quite a bit of that, and one of the best looking shooters I've ever seen on a console. Just the animation, the graphics, everything. It's also a very lengthy game too. So Jason, you mentioned you're all about the campaigns. Crysis 2 is really good for that. It's got a good meaty 10 to 12 hour campaign, which is uncommon for a lot of shooters nowadays.
Yeah, that's nice. That's good.
And the last one I'll touch upon, I have more, but the more interesting ones, Fear 3. I just picked that up this week, and I'm loving it. Have any of you played any of the Fear games?
Oh, yeah.
No.
I have. Yeah.
Which ones?
The first and second.
Yeah. The second I'm a huge fan of. I love just the style, the setting, the gameplay mechanics. It's a really good shooter. It's a little bit dated, I guess, in terms of modern standards, but it's still really good.
Yeah, but it's scary as shit, though.
It's part 3 is kind of the same. There's a lot more moments where things jump out at you, especially that little Alma girl who's so creepy.
That's what freaks me out, man. I'm telling you, when I'm walking down a hallway, and I'm checking my corners like I'm doing a tactical shooter. I'm checking corners, checking corners. I turn and look left, nothing. I keep walking. I turn and look left again. There's something right there now. Just popped out at me. That's what freaks me out about Fear. Man. Part 3 has that in spades. But one thing that you might like about it over part 2 is that it has a point system. So everything you do, a certain set of objectives, they give you points that you rank up with, kind of like with online multiplayer. But you get the same system of points across the single player, the co-op, and the multiplayer. And when you rank up in one, you rank up in all. So you can become a really good player really fast. And it really adds an element of fun to the multiplayer. Because I usually don't play multiplayer online with shooters. Fear 3 is one of the first that I've really kind of warmed to, outside of Borderlands, of course. So Fear 3 is a high recommendation. And last one, I bought the Prince of Persia trilogy on the PlayStation 3. I mean, anyone who's played Sands of Time knows that it's an excellent game. The other 2 are kind of hit and miss, but they're still worth checking out, especially if you're getting them as part of the HD pack, because it's only, I think, $30 for all 3.
Well, so, what was the Prince of Persia game that came out? Like, not I think the last one, the one before it came out. I got it on the PS3.
There's 2 of them. There's the one that's just called Prince of Persia. It's the one with the cell shaded graphics.
That's it. That's terrible.
Yeah,
really?
No. Did you like it? I didn't.
Well, Ben, go ahead first.
I did actually. It's very easy because you can't die. Your partner will always rescue you if you misjudge a jump, or if you get killed in battle or something. Your partner will always rescue you at the last minute, so you can't die. The one that came after, the Forgotten Sands, that one I absolutely loved.
See, I liked the cell shaded one. Well, here, I'll say this. I liked everything but the combat. I thought the combat was terrible. I didn't like how they handled it, the sort of one-on-one, drawn-out battles. But the environment and just the platforming and the gameplay and the graphics and the characters, I really liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah.
Have you played the Forgotten Sands?
Very, very... No, actually, no. The only one I've played besides the newer one is Sands of Time. I never really liked the darker tone that they went with the series. That's why I always gravitate towards the lighter tone ones. So Sands of Time and Prince of Persia, I guess, 2008, I guess that one came out or something, 2009.
I think Forgotten Sands you might actually like because it falls somewhere in between, because it's not as dark as the Sands of Time, but it has a lot of the same gameplay mechanics, and it's not so much about battles, but it's more about creatively getting through the environments, because you're given powers including rewinding time, freezing water to create a wall or a column you can jump on, and you have to string them together to get through. So you feel really accomplished once you get through a really tough environment. So it's more about that rather than the combat. So I do highly recommend getting the Forgotten Sands. You can easily get it for, I don't know, $10 now.
Maybe I have to give it a revisit because I probably played maybe 2-3 hours into it and I just put it down and never played it again.
It's hit and miss. I think if you're a Prince of Persia fan and you want something more along the lines of what you saw in the PS2 games, get the Forgotten Sands because I mean you die in the game, but also it's challenging for the right reasons. I find it's not the controls are more refined.
I remember the Commodore 64 Prince of Persia, like the old school retro Prince of Persia. You know,
I played it on an old Mac Classic, one of those old oatmeal box computers,
Definitely.
black and white.
Definitely. Wow.
Good days.
The SE computers.
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome.
That's totally dating me right there. But I remember playing it on like one of those old black and white screens.
Yeah, dude, where you push. I played one where you push the button and then he jumps. You know.
Yeah.
That's got to be it. It was on like an old 486 or 386 or something. Man.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Awesome stuff. How games have changed over the years, huh?
I know, right?
Everyone's gone, or anything else, Ben?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, I also started The Force Unleashed 2. I know you played through that game, sir. What did you think of that?
I liked it. That was another cool ending, actually. We're talking about cool endings. That was cool. Have you beaten it yet?
I'm about maybe an hour and a half into it.
Okay, I don't want to spoil it for you at the end, but everyone dies. No, I'm just joking. I'm
okay, don't need to go back to it then.
I'm fucking with you. No, it's cool because it's got two alternate endings. You got like the dark side and the light side. So that was a really cool ending. But it's a really short game. Very short.
That's what I've heard, and a lot of people who like the first Force Unleashed game did not like the sequel because I've heard people say it's dumbed down, like it's not as, I don't know, it's not as challenging as the first one, but also it is a lot shorter. But I mean, I got it for $12, and I love the style of it.
I bought it. I think I beat it in like maybe 5 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's short, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is pretty short.
Yeah.
I like that. I like short games.
Well, given how many you have to play on a given time, I mean, short games definitely, there is a benefit to having a short game.
Mm-hmm. But, it was a really quick game, but it was, like, I like the story and stuff, but graphics are cool,
Mm-hmm. That's what I like about it. I'm a Star Wars fan, so I think just being in the universe and being able to play with the Force powers, even if just for a brief time.
Yeah. Here's a cool thing, though. I don't know where it falls into the whole Star Wars canon kind of deal, because is it between Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi that's supposed to be taking place?
Believe so,
because I just don't understand, because you don't hear about the apprentices in any of the movies, and obviously there's a point where he dies because he's not in Return of the Jedi and Darth Vader's still around, so I don't understand where the whole falls into the whole story of the whole canon of Star Wars, so to speak. But it's cool though.
I don't think it's meant to, actually. It's like a totally different storyline from the movies. Yeah
Definitely.
All
right,
I have remembered real quickly.
Okay,
I want to mention. They've come to my mind. I did buy a Japanese PS2 and a couple of games, and I did play a couple of those games. The first of which being the game that I wanted to buy a Japanese PS2 for in the first place, and that is Shadow Tower Abyss. This is from the same developers of Demon Souls. From Software are the developers, and I can definitely see the similar style in terms of character art and monster design and world design and everything. And I live streamed this game, and I have to say, totally worth buying a Japanese PS2 for. It's a first-person RPG, very slow-paced. It's actually based off of the King's Field series, which I will admit I've never played a King's Field game before, so this was sort of my first taste into this style of RPG or adventure game, I guess you can say. Now, it is in Japanese, but there is quite a bit of English text that's translated, and it's totally playable. And if I ever do get stuck, there's a great guide that's online. But I just love this game so far. The world and character and monster designs are just so creepy and eerie, and the gameplay is a lot of fun. The game looks excellent. Even though it was an early release for the PS2, this is without a doubt one of the best looking PS2 games I've seen, and people that were watching my stream would agree. It's pretty simple in terms of the combat. First person, you got your swords and your weapons, and eventually it seems like I'm going to get some spells of some sort. But I'm really enjoying the game. And I also played a game called Neon Genesis Evangelion Battle Orchestra, which is it's based off the anime series Neon Genesis Evangelion, and it's actually modeled after Super Smash Brothers. So it's got sort of like a story mode to it, which I just skip right through because all it is character portraits speaking in Japanese. And then there you got versus modes where it allows you to pick up to 4 players and you kind of just duke it out. Now, I was having a lot of fun with this game at first when I was playing on easy mode. But the thing is, in order to unlock new stages and characters to play as, you have to play on normal. And I was live streaming this, and going from easy to normal was like going from easy to ridiculously, aggravatingly hard mode. Some of the bosses I was literally stuck on for an hour almost, just because they were so freaking cheap, and it was really, really annoying. Unfortunately, that kind of dampened my mood for that game slightly. And the game wasn't that cheap, I'll admit. Importing it with chipping, I kind of regretting it towards the end. So I might like try and resell that or something, because at times I was not having fun with it. But fans of Neon Genesis Evangelion and Smash Brothers, this is definitely a game to look into if you want to practice it. And just lastly, another game that I want to mention. Oh no, two more real fast. I did play Death Smiles on the 360 with a friend co-op. This was my first time playing it co-op locally, and he had a blast. I had a blast. We played through it 1.5 times. We beat it on normal mode, and then we switched to very hard mode. We put it on the maximum difficulty. And those unfamiliar with Death Smiles, it is a 2D shoot 'em up bullet hell game released on the Xbox 360, and also on the Xbox Live Arcade. A sequel to one of my favorite games of the last year has come out. It is on the Xbox Live Indie Marketplace. It has to do with cats.
Oh, no.
Really?
They did a sequel to Techno Kitten Adventure?
They did a sequel to Techno Kitten Adventure.
Oh my god, hell has
I
frozen
flipped
over.
out. I was looking through the indie games, and it was funny because I was browsing through them, and there was a game called, what is it? Oh, here it is. A Game About My Cat. And I'm like, oh man, what is this? A sequel to Techno Kitten Adventure? And obviously it wasn't. So I keep browsing, and all of a sudden, there it is, with a new box art. The title actually is not called Techno Kitten Adventure 2. It's called Techno Kitten Adventure with an exclamation mark at the end. But they actually added in the original level returns, but they added in 2 more levels with 2 new songs, and each level has different cats. So they have like Devil Cat, Harp Cat, Demon Cat, like all these different cats that you get to unlock and play as.
Yeah, music.
God.
The other 2 new songs aren't as good as the original, in my opinion. But
Are they
what they
still
did
happy hardcore? Or are
they're
they?
still happy hardcore. But what they did in this one is they made it even more insane. They have so many like fucking random ass shit flying around the screen, and they updated it to make it a little bit more insane, I guess you can say, with the like the flip out shit when it goes all crazy with the techno music.
It's crazy.
But it's still fun. I bought it. I didn't even download the demo. I just bought this game, and I was live streaming it online.
That's funny.
So yeah, that's just a couple of games that I remembered.
Cool.
So I guess we'll end it there.
All right.
So Pete, you mentioned Demon Souls, the developer. They made one of the games you just talked about. Are you looking forward to Dark Souls?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's definitely one of my most looked forward to games that was shown off at this year's E3, because they finally showed off some new gameplay, and I'm looking forward to the open-ended worldness that this one's going in the direction that they're taking it, and I'm just looking forward to playing online, because Demon Souls on PS3, I don't care what anybody says, that was one of the most intuitive games with online gameplay that I've played in a very long time.
Very nice. Hey, okay, John. So just before you get into Gaming Piece Theater, and then we wrap up the show here, I wanted to mention I've been putting this off for a few episodes because I've been waiting for it to be finally patched and fixed and updated and ready to go. But I do want to mention, you guys, that the video game called Conquest that was created by Jason Keiderling, same guy who did Maids with Balloons, it's a tank strategy game that I did the soundtrack and audio for Xbox 360. It is now up. It is live. It is available. It is $1. And it is there for you guys to play and check out. And, I just wanted to mention it. I haven't mentioned it the last couple of times because there was an update that needed to be pushed through. It took a couple of weeks, but the update is now on the game. So everything is good. Multiplayer works.
Yeah, that update fixes the multiplayer, right?
Yeah,
So
there was a glitch in multiplayer online with just the way that the power is on the bases or something. But it's all fixed now. It's all good to go. So definitely check out the game, you guys. Support.
$1 gets you access to Jason's full soundtrack.
It does. It sure does. Definitely support Jason, both Jasons, I guess, in that. And if you guys like the game, please feel free to comment and let Jason know. But also, if you guys like the music and the soundtrack, it's available on iTunes, Napster, Rhapsody, Amazon, MP3, all sorts of places. Zune Network.
CD Baby.
CD Baby, yeah, absolutely. If you don't have iPods, CD Baby is a great resource for you guys. CDbaby.com. So check it out and make sure to give some ratings on the music. If you would, I would appreciate that if you feel so inclined. So I wanted to mention it. It is done. It's up. So
Yeah, it's
Excellent.
good stuff.
Hold on.
Congratulations, man.
I got a quick shout out here to John Jacobson as some of you may know, Black Dog 7. John, I know you know him.
Sure.
After 2 years of anticipation since they first started working on it, him and Matt McCarthy, his little bandmate, they've been working on a music CD for 2 years now. That's sort of like now I generally don't listen to this style of music, but I just have to say that they worked on the CD for 2 years and it sounds excellent. It's called The Kill Screens, and it just released today officially, and I purchased it. And I'd encourage you all, if you're into sort of like indie rocktronica, electronica music, go to thekillscreens.com, check out their music. They got a MySpace page up, as ancient as MySpace is. But I just wanted to give them a shout out because I know they've been working hard on it for quite a long time, and it's a 2-man effort. And really, this you would think for like a sort of an indie CD developed, just by these two guys over time, that it, the production values are out of the roof. So I just wanted to give a shout out to John and his band, The Kill Screens. Definitely check out their music.
That's one of my favorite podcasts is Video Game Outsiders. VGO is an awesome podcast. They record Tuesday nights the same nights we record. I'd love to, they do live generally every week at All Games?
Allgames.com.
Allgames.com, yeah. So definitely check them out. Show some support. Good guys. But
Tuesdays at 9 Eastern, and their show generally runs for 2 hours. If you enjoy our podcast, honestly, check theirs out because they do a lot of bullshitting and off topic, and they get criticized for not talking about video games enough. But you know what? That's what makes podcasts interesting. Usually, is when you go off topic and you fool around and you have fun, and it's not just robotic.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Absolutely,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And they're going on, many years now. They're on episode like 260 something now. I think it's ridiculous.
Michelle and Kyle, I think they're the two people, right? Part of the podcast.
Yes,
so.
Michelle and Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle Jones, Michelle Madison.
Yeah.
Welcome to another episode of Gaming Piece Theater with Gamester81. Gamester, what piece of gaming history are you going to share with us today?
All right, guys. So it's been a while since I've done Gaming Piece Theater. It's been like a month? I think it's been a while. Quite some time.
Wow.
So you guys go on to our forums. You can go to allgengamers.com. You'll see a link to our forums. Please continue to post questions on there. Same with Love Talk with Giant Millennium. Questions to us. Go to iTunes, rate us on there as well. Appreciate that. So any support you can show, you definitely appreciate, guys. But I'm going to talk about the Sega Mega Jet, and this is a system that came out in '94. Have you guys heard of this?
No.
I've heard of the name, but honestly have no idea about this thing.
So it is it's made by Sega Japan. It was only released in Japan, and it is a predecessor, so to speak, to the Nomad. And if you guys don't know what the Nomad is, it's a portable Genesis. It has came out in '95 in the States. It's really cool. Way ahead of its time, actually. I really liked it.
Love that thing.
I love Nomad.
Wow.
The screen resolution is really good. But the Mega Jet is kind of interesting. It's a portable handheld, and initially it was only available through Japan Airlines. And the whole idea was that when you're flying Japan Airlines, you would have this controller. It's almost like a controller. There's no screen. You just put your Mega Drive games into it, and there'd be like a mini screen in front of you could play. They'd have 4 games that you could rent from Japan Airlines. One would be like Monaco GP, another one would be Sonic, etc. so forth. You could actually bring other Mega Drive games and plug it into here, so it's a full-fledged Mega Drive in your hands, right? And they actually retail later on. I think it retail for about $123 US dollars in Japan. I'm not sure what that is in yen, but that's about what it cost. But it's really cool. It's kind of obscure. And I know Jason's looking at a picture of it right now. But
never seen one, man. That's crazy.
It's
Wait, what was the price you said, John?
Back in the day, it retailed for $123.
Okay, yeah, that's 1,100. Basically, yen, just add on like an extra digit.
Okay,
so.
But it's a really cool Mega Drive system, and it's portable, but you need like a TV to play because there's no built-in screen. But it came out before the whole Nomad came out, so it is kind of like the older brother to the Nomad.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of it here. I'm looking at the actual physical box of it here from Japan. You have the console itself, which you can also, looks like, plug in a
controller,
Genesis.
Just like the Nomad.
Yeah, and then obviously AC adapter goes in the top left, and then you have the cartridge in, and then AV out going to the TV.
See, the thing I don't understand is where the AC adapter would plug into on the plane.
On an airline, yeah.
But they figured it out. So that's where it initially was on Japan Airlines. And that's, it was cool kind of advertising for...
What a crazy concept.
Right?
Yeah, think about that.
Wait, so do you own one of these, John?
I do. I did a review way back in the day on it. I need to do a follow-up video on it, but yeah, I do own one.
Have
So are you able
plugged
to
it?
hook? Are you able to hook it up to a TV?
That was my
Yeah,
question too.
yeah, you can hook up to a TV. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
That's cool.
It's the only Mega Drive system I own. Actually, I don't own a Mega Drive console. Well, I have a Genesis, obviously, but I don't have a Mega Drive. So
The official, yeah.
So any listeners out there who are looking to sell a Mega Drive for very cheap for a good deal, please
Send this
contact
guy
me.
something.
Gamester81@gmail.com. Thank you. All right. So that's Gaming Piece Theater. Well, guys, it's been fun.
It's been a real blast.
It's been a blast.
I know. I've been really happy to be here.
I'm happy to be here too.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah. Excellent. And Pete, are you too?
No,
Oh shit.
no, of course I am. It was so, it was fun actually going back and listening to the podcast. But I wish I could have been there. But
Hey, John.
plans
Yes.
change. So
John, can I just don't bring me the extended versions? Just bring me the freaking cliff notes of the movie.
You gotta watch. You don't.
Don't bring me the extended. Just bring me the cliff note version.
the normal version.
Just bring me the normal version.
All right.
Pete, do I really need to see the extended version?
no, I guess not.
Because I'll get the gist
I think
of
I only
it.
have Fellowship of the Ring. I think I only have the first one normal. So you may have to be forced to watch the extended edition. I'll see. You have to go see what I
All
have.
right.
All right, guys. Well, I gotta mega jet out of here.
Look at this guy, for Christ's sake. Beautiful. Well, it's been fun, Ben Browland. What a pleasure having you on the
Ben,
show.
how can people find you if they want to find you? I know you're on the forums quite a bit.
I'm on Pete'sGameRoomForum.com, on Troll Patrol constantly.
He's
and,
securing our forum borders.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly, with the help of my moderator brethren. Hello, guys, by the way. Outside of that, there's really not much else. I have a blog on Blogspot called theconsuminator.blogspot.com. I've started posting mostly game reviews on there, so anyone who's interested in that, definitely check it out. And yeah, pretty much just hit me up on the forums anytime if you want to play. I love Xbox Live, love PSN. Definitely love hanging out, so anyone out there who wants to hang, hit me up.
And you're
Start up that YouTube channel sometime.
definitely, man.
It's a work in progress. I still have no idea where I'm going to go
And
with
then you can
it.
get a
but,
million PMs and you'll love it.
You know what? I have to feel the pain. I know you guys so well. I feel like I'm being left out here by not being inundated with messages. So yeah, one day I'll be on that same level.
But you know what? It's
hopefully.
honestly, I know we bitch and moan about it, or it might sound like we are, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun. We do it for fun. And we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't like it, right? So
Do you get some really great comments from people that really appreciate what you do? It just makes it all worthwhile.
yeah,
It's like to feel that,
Yeah.
like, man, I really appreciate your
Absolutely.
content. This feels nice. So
absolutely.
Exactly. And as an audience member, we appreciate you guys.
Well, appreciate
so
it, man. Thank you.
we appreciate you, Ben.
thank
well,
you.
guys, it's been fun, but definitely Johnny will be back next episode, and Pete, you might be late or maybe not make it because you're going back to Mordor
This,
But yeah, are you guys recording this Tuesday? I guess?
Tuesday.
this is the trend. I'm just not going to show one day. Just not going to show.
Yeah, so we'll see how that turns out. I might be late or possibly no show.
Either way.
We'll see how that goes. And just a reminder, guys, don't forget episode 50, July 5th.
Yes.
We are going to be doing it live at justin.tv/AllGenGamers.
Clear your evenings.
So make sure you